episode of the Sports PSP podcast. Before we start off the show, as we normally do, and thank you for everyone for checking out to the podcast. Please make sure you like and subscribe. Obviously, some devastating news that happened yesterday in Minnesota. ICE agent shot an innocent 37-year-old woman. I mean, it's obviously the videos out there. I'm sorry, Champ. If you could, Champ or BRF, if y'all could send me the name of the person.
I already know it. You want me to send it? I mean, I can say it here, but I
You
already
you
know. I
you
know the
you
name.
could you could say it. You could say it.
Yeah, it's her name is it came out Renee Nicole Good. That
Yes,
was the lady's name that was shot.
shot and killed at the age of 37 years old. Um, she was unalived. She leaves away her three children, mother of three children, and I really hate to talk about this. I wish we could just talk about like we normally talk about, but enough. This is enough. Um, Inexcusable. Just looking at the video, just looking at the full video, I don't know what else you want me to say. And Champ, you mentioned we had conversations. The FBI regarding the investigation, they're planning on what, stopping it.
They're stalling the investigation right
This
now, and this isn't the first shooting
shooting.
that
You told
happened.
me
I
last
said
year.
last year in Los Angeles as well. So it's been a it's been a it's been a journey. We'll put it that way. It's been a journey, and you know, as a former law enforcement guy myself, everybody knows. It's no secret to anybody. I used to be a military police officer, but we got to work on ROE, rules of engagement, and you know, engaging people like we're supposed to. Because that's a bad look when the first step that you take is in order to fire that weapon. You got to work on your rules of engagement, your escalation of force, because there's no way that the optics are everything. Optics are everything, and when you look at the video, it doesn't look like you're in fear of anything. It looks like you're just trying to assert your authority. So, a lot of fellow law enforcement, we got to do a better job of treating the people right, because at the end of the day, we're here to provide a service to the people. We're not here for ourselves. We're not here to power trip. We're here to provide a service to the people. And when you're not doing that, that's a bad look. Not only you set up not only the present guys for failure, but the future guys for failure. So, got to do a better job of that, and waiting on more details to come out about it, because as you all know, there's always a lot of things beneath the surface, but there is a lot to be desired when it comes to dealing with a lot of things within our country. And we got to do a better job. Got to do a better job. I mean, a lot of things shouldn't happen, and I'm doing my best to kind of like navigate this the best way I can, but a lot of things should not happen. We shouldn't be having, every time you look around, a shooting when it comes to a law enforcement officer. It used to be where that was the very last resort. I mean, I'm just gonna keep it real. We all watched Cops for years, and we only saw one incident. We watched Cops on television for years, and there was only one incident where somebody was had their life taken. Now we're seeing that on the norm, and it's got to be a point where we have to do some reform. It's got to be a point where we have to look at ourselves and look who we are taking in as applicants, because guess what? Everybody's not built to be that. That is something where you have a lot of power over people, over community, and over yourself. And if you've misused that power, like I stated, that destroys the biggest thing that you can have is community law enforcement relations. When you don't have the people, you really don't have a lot. So, got to work on that, man. And you got to make sure. And for all you reporters out there who are saying outlandish stuff, keep in mind that you're a journalist, and keep in mind that you have a family, and keep in mind that you yourselves can be in that situation in a heartbeat. So be mindful of your words. Be mindful of your words because you could put something out there in God's green earth and life will humble you real, real quick. So be mindful of your words, especially if you're in the media at this point. Be mindful of your words, no matter what side you're on. Be mindful of your words. This was a life that was taken. If you look at the optics, it doesn't look very, very good. And it seems like every attempt to investigate and every attempt in order for us to say something about it is being stonewalled. So a lot of things have to change. And like I stated, this wasn't just, this is a high profile case because, it's involving ICE. But as we was talking about last year and, all during COVID with the George Floyd situation, God rest his soul, we were seeing this every single day during the COVID years, which was 2020 to 2024. And it became the norm. And now it seems like it's just coming back to that. So we got to do a better job.
Big fella, I'm sorry. We should do a better job. We should have been doing a better job a hell of a long time ago. And I understand you don't want to go that route, and because I know you're a fair-minded man, but I must. As the Minnesota mayor said it, I can get the fuck up out of here. This is inexcusable. I'm just looking at the video. People tell me that it's better to see it than hear it. It's better to see it than to read it or hear it. The video captures it all.
Yeah.
What excuse? She flee. Even if she fled, you could have just ran the license plate. You could just figure out a different way than to shoot her. What threat does she have? A 37-year-old woman in her car. She's scared as hell. And you shoot her? Like nothing? And you mentioned certain reporters, Champ, to their to the comments. Bullshit. When is it enough? I mean, and I'm sorry, this current regime that we're in is just getting absolutely outrageous. I know you don't want to go there, big fella, but I must. I'm getting sick of it. And what excuse? What excuse do you have for this regime? What justification do you have for this regime? Tell me, what are you going to say with a straight face? These actions are right here are justifiable. President Trump hasn't done really that bad of a job. Really? I just want somebody to tell me with a straight face, how's this Trump's fault? Any way, shape, or form? Enough. Enough. We keep saying we got to do a better job. We got to do a better. And I'm not referring to you, champ. I just want to
No,
make
it's
it clear.
all good.
When is it enough? If you're confronting someone, isn't the law say protect and serve and honor? This video, this ain't it. And what we're seeing in this country, this is not it. Inexcusable. As the mayor of Minnesota said, ICE needs to get the fuck up out of here. Because anyone who tries to sit here and tries to excuse or justify this, miss me with that bullshit. A young woman was murdered. For what? BRF?
It's a honestly, for better or for worse, it's a joke. I mean, it is. It's a joke. Like you would think like a presidential regime of any kind would want to do some due diligence and have just any amount of common sense to understand what's going on in our nation today and understand that a lot of the violence that's been going on is violence that you've for better or worse terms you've instigated, and it's like you show no remorse, like even in his true social post where he's talking about this woman being a professional agitator. I mean, a professional agitator. Like, what gives you the absolute right to talk about a mother like that? Had 3 kids. They have to go the rest of their lives without their mom. And you're sitting here for the world to see, calling their mom a professional agitator. They might not know better now, but when they grow up and they go back and they see that, they're going to remember that. And if you're still alive by then, when they can grow up and they can fully understand the ramifications of what you said, I hope every single one of you, one of them lights you up. Like, just speak their piece, because you and people defend, like, even people who shouldn't be justifying this action have talking about, oh, this was a justified shooting. It just shouldn't have happened. I'm like, if it shouldn't have happened, it's not justified. How do you how do you collaborate the two in that? How do you bring them together? How do you do that? And it's a shame where we're at in a country, how desensitized we are to the violence that's going on, that we look at another shooting and it's like it's like half of the people completely want to be sympathetic and empathetic to those kids because they got to go the rest of their lives without their mom. And then you got one side that's, defending ICE, defending the dude that shot her. Oh, and by the way, just so y'all know, his name is out. So I'm not going to say it here, but I'm going to tell you this right now. Internet, his name is out. Do your thing. You know what you need to do. Do your thing, because homeboy deserves every bit of vitriol, every bit of hate, every bit of anger. I'm talking about, do not be nice to this man one iota. You let him know how you feel in any way, shape, or form that you need to get it out. Because I'm tired of this myself. I'm tired of this as well. It's a shame how desensitized we are to violence in this nation. The fact that we still talk about the school shootings, the mass shootings, like people who are supposed to be law enforcement, all they are. I'm trying to word this the best way I can.
Enforcers.
They are a bunch of they're power hungry assholes. That's what they are. It's like you found the most trigger happy people you could have found. You put a little power in their hands, and now they just think they're on top of the world, that they're untouchable, that they're invincible. And you don't want to say nothing like one of them, one of these days are going to get checked, but it feels like it's going to get to that point. And it doesn't need to be that. But these agents are going to run across the wrong group of people at the rate they're going. Because I'm sorry, at the end of the day, people want to talk about the Second Amendment and how the Second Amendment was created for a militia against a tyrannical government. That's why the Second Amendment was created. Not just because I got the right to own my shotguns and my AK-47s and my Glocks and all this other stuff. No, the Second Amendment honestly was not created for us in the sense of just being able to just tote wherever you want. The Second Amendment was created in case our government is doing some crap like they're doing right now. And if we need to protect ourselves, we let it loose and can't nothing happen to us. That's what the Second Amendment was created for. And just all these misconceptions and all these games. That's what this regime has done. They think it's nothing but a game to them. And at some point, we as people got to understand, whether you on one side of the aisle or the other side of the aisle, at the end of the day, this government is not in it for you. Especially those on the right side who just think they're just all, they all look out for them. I hate to say it like that, but it is what it is. When y'all realize they don't care about your personal interest no more than anybody else, hopefully you grow a brain and you go from there. But I don't know. I highly doubt it at this point. If you defended this man up to this point, unless you're some people, I don't see you stopping. So it's a sham. It's a travesty, and just so many prayers and so many condolences. to that woman's kids and family and loved ones. But honestly, I'm getting sick and tired of throwing out condolences and prayers. I'm sick and tired of this. Something got to be done.
Go ahead, champ.
You know, piggybacking on what BRL said, we had that discussion before off the record. You know, we've had that discussion before. But isn't it very ironic that certain people, I will say, because in the great words of Chuck D, I dare not mention this name because I'm not finna make you even more famous than you don't need to be. Hey, we'll call him the New Jersey General. And those of you who know the NFL, the USFL, you know exactly who I'm talking about. Isn't it quite ironic that this woman was called a professional agitator 6 years, almost to the day after the insurrection?
Facts.
6 days. Y'all, I hope nobody noticed. I hope nobody did not notice that it was 1 day after the 6-year anniversary of the insurrection. And then you hear a bunch of tone deaf people, I would say, talk about the lady who passed away during the insurrection, talking about say her name. Say her name for what? Really? You walk into the Capitol building and get your ass pew-pewed when you had no business in there in the first place. And then we supposed to say your name? No. But this lady who was protesting, it's quite ironic that insurrectionists get pardoned and protesters get shot. I'm starting to see, I'm not a man of, optics. I'm a man of patterns. I recognize patterns everywhere I go. So, it's very, very, and now it's crossed the lines. It's not just black protesters getting shot.
Whites. And that woman who was killed, that was a white woman, for those who may not know. So
it's not just one group getting shot anymore. So when are we gonna wake up and start and protest? Look, for this pay, look, look, the country was built on damn protesting.
It's supposed to make you uncomfortable. It's supposed to shock your very conscience.
And since y'all love quoting the great Martin Luther King, everybody loves to quote the great Martin Luther King when they say the contents of our character. Let me break some down to you what he said also. He said, and I quote, "A scheduled protest is a glorified parade." Let me say that again. A scheduled protest is a glorified parade. All right? So, number one, I need y'all to stop doing this. Number one, be responsible with y'all write. Number one. Number two, call
and what you say.
where it is.
And what you say. And what you say, because otherwise, you know what that could lead you to.
Exactly. So, and stop trying to glorify dumbness. Like, call everything what you see it. Call it like we see it. Call it like we see it. And stop misquote. Look, and one thing that grinds my doggone gears. I'm trying not to curse in this segment. One thing that grinds my gears, stop quoting Martin Luther King if you can't get every damn thing right about him.
I would personally prefer if you not quote.
Stop
anybody.
Quoting Martin Luther King. Guess what? Saying the contents, he said the contents of your character. You can't say shit about character if you ain't got none.
Thank you.
So that's number one.
Thank you.
And that's not the only damn thing that he said. So stop look, you remind me of people who try to pick out the Bible and try to nitpick and things like that. Guess what? Stop cherry picking, what we used to call it in the Army. Stop cherry picking. Say everything he said. Don't come in here and piss on my head and tell me it's raining. Exactly. I love saying that because guess what? There's a lot that's piss. That's not rain. That ain't water. So let's stop with this nonsense. Stop saying, because guess what? For you to walk up on the car and you to have somebody right in there, all thing you had to do is snatch out the damn car or something like that. Or either got to look.
Ran the license plates. You could have done something else to
look. She trying to get away. You know what? That ain't worth that. Get the license plates. We'll arrest her later.
You could have come up with. I'm sorry, champ, but you could have come up with a numerous amount of solutions. And BRF, you mentioned the tweet from our current president. I am not all surprised nor shocked at all because this is the same man who had no conscience, not a soul after the death of Rob Reiner. I'm sure y'all saw or read that tweet.
Exactly.
So he is exactly who he is. There's nothing more that I need to say, but enough.
Nothing at nothing
Nothing.
at this point.
No,
There's
no,
nothing at
no,
this point
no,
that's gonna like.
no.
Mm.
What I have a problem with, the blindest person in the world is the one who can't see but chooses not to see. You see this. Don't tell me you ain't, like you said, champ. Don't tell me it's raining in like you said.
Don't piss on my head. Like I said, man.
Don't tell
enough
me.
is
Don't
enough.
tell
If
me
a
like.
look,
I'm sorry.
if we're gonna sit around here, I'm sorry, PSP. Look, we're 6 years removed from that damn insurrection. Let's just be real. And I'm gonna be all the way 100, and I'll get fined for it later. I'm just being real. We see motherfuckers get shot for less than walk into a Capitol building.
Exactly.
We've seen people get shot for less. We've seen people get shot for being on the sidewalk protesting. We saw people get shot protesting being left in Katrina, but they were starving. So we've seen people get shot for less. So for years later, somebody to get shot because, oh yeah, it's really getting weird to me because guess what? Now you're shooting women. And it's just like, it's getting old at this point. And this ain't the first woman that you've shot. Remember, the lady in her home, she said, I rebuke thee in the name of Jesus. He got so damn heated, shot the damn lady right in the damn face.
Let's not forget Breonna Taylor.
Yeah, broke into her damn house. And let's not forget about the damn dude, I forget the man's name. He was sitting in his apartment eating ice cream, broke into his damn house
Botham
and shot
Jean.
it. And then the damn judge hugged the damn neck. That's why I hate talking about shit like this, because you got to relive it over and over and over and over. You broke into some damn body. We got people around here breaking in people's fucking houses and shooting them in the back of the head and only getting 7 years. Exactly. You broke into my damn house. Anybody else on the streets do that? That's their ass. Their ass is grass. And the law is the lawnmower. Let's just be real. If you would prosecute a regular person for this stuff, then we need to prosecute everybody for it. And look, I'm going to just be real. If a super incident happens, I'm not going to say what incident that might be. If a super incident happens where you walk into the wrong neighborhood and something goes super wrong with them agents, then hey, look, you got to be careful. I'm going to just be real, because we're on the brink of that at this point. Because the thing is, it's not just about the people's safety. It's about their safety too. It's about, look, we were always taught when we were soldiers, man, be cautious when you're walking into these neighborhoods, when you're walking amongst the people. Be careful not to try to intimidate them. Don't be trying to flex your weight, because you can get them hurt and you can get yourself hurt. That's the thing. And the last thing that we need is for one big incident to occur and just turn the country on its heel. And at this point, I feel like it's either war or bust. At this point, it's either war or bust. I feel like that everybody knows that every damn thing is just going to hell at this point, and they just determined to start a war, whether it be an abroad war or a civil war. And it's just like every time one of these guys is in office, seems like a war soon to follow. Bush Sr., Bush Jr., now Trump. There's a pattern there. There's a pattern there. There's a pattern there. Every time.
Are we surprised, champ? No,
I'm just saying.
No.
Every regime that it was always the other side. Bush Senior, war. Bush Junior, war.
War.
This guy, the New Jersey General, war. There's a pattern there. Y'all don't get the gimmick yet.
Apparently they haven't,
So
which is
hey,
the bigger irony. And champ, the only way for as Ben Franklin put it, there can be no justice until people who are unaffected are as equally outraged as those who are. And unfortunately, this stuff is not going to go away, and unfortunately, it's going to keep on continuing. And it's just enough. This is not. This is not the way we wanted to start off the new year. 2026. We were anticipating for great things, and we're still going to do great things. But this right here is inevitable. And with this regime, and with so many things that is transpiring in this country, and for people who continuously defend him, his rhetoric, his nonsense, his bullshit, what does that say about you? I'm so sick and tired of people coming to Trump's defense. And how can anybody with sense that can justify or excuse that tweet? It's looking shit. It's looking so bad for Donald Trump. Even Marjorie Taylor Greene has even come out against him. And we know about Marjorie Taylor Greene's past.
Exactly.
So for
Especially
her of
us,
all
like,
people,
Yeah.
people to go on The View, to go on CNN, to be saying this stuff about the president. Now, again, I still have to look at her with a side eye. But at the same time, lately,
hey, when your people, it's kind of like,
no, you said it yourself, big fella.
everybody ain't lying. It's kind of like when you tell me, it's one thing when the world is telling me I'm doing something wrong. With PSP and BRF saying, hey, champ, you messing up, bro. Might be time to revisit what you're doing, partner. Might be time to revisit what you're doing.
Look,
I don't know what I don't know what's going on anymore. It feels like it's like I don't know anymore. It seems like it's this level of uncertainty. Kids can't people talk about birth rates and stuff like this. People like me, I'm scared to have children. I don't want them coming into this world. This is a world that was I never thought I would see. I never thought I would see. I literally am afraid to bring a kid into this world.
I'm afraid of bringing a child to school.
This is a world where a lot of bullshit is glorified where it shouldn't be. I'm talking about things on the most disgustingest level. You got public officials saying stop hunting down and stop shaming certain groups of cats. And I'm not talking, the P3DOs and all that shit. It's getting disgusting. You want us to stop shaming P3DOs? We're talking about children here. And this is a politician who fucking said this.
That's saying something. Because we know how politicians are. So for a politician of all people to say that about children, essentially, if you're a parent that has kids, essentially, what does it say?
We need to bring back shaming. I don't care what anybody says. When we down south used to say you ought to be ashamed of yourself, that meant something. And I'm not talking about shaming to bully people. I'm talking about shaming to show people, hey, that's not what the fuck you're supposed to be doing, you idiot. That's not what you're supposed to be doing. And until we get to the point where consequence equals action, it's gonna stay that way. It's creating, to quote the great Joe Clark from Lean On Me, discipline is not the enemy of enthusiasm. Discipline is not the enemy of enthusiasm. And if you have no discipline in the workplace, especially when you're dealing with, people, when you're dealing with guns, you're dealing with people out here, you can get yourself killed or your comrades killed. You need to be very, very disciplined. And if that was a soldier, look, when we was overseas, they said, do not fire that weapon. If you fire that weapon without clear threat, and it's not inconclusive that you yourself were in danger, guess what? Guess where you're going? You're going to Leavenworth for the next 15 years. And they did that with soldiers when we was overseas. They told you, hey, you fire that weapon so much as one time without having clear positive idea of what you're firing at, and you accidentally hit somebody, you hit a civilian, you hit somebody, and you don't have clear positive ID, or you escalate your force too quickly or too soon, you're going to Leavenworth. And until we develop that mentality again where consequence is just as strong as the action, it's going to continue to happen. Consequence. And guess what? Look, you got to put yourself, you got to take yourself and put you in that situation. What if it was your mom? What if it was your sister? What if it was your grandma, your auntie? Think about all of that, man. Like I said, I'll say this from a standpoint. I used to be a military police officer. I was trained by some of the best guys in the world. Some of the guys are officers or retired police officers in the civilian world right now. So it's called situational awareness. All that getting out the car like you damn Snake from Metal Gear Solid. What are you doing? You're gonna get yourself killed. Or somebody killed in this case. It's gotta stop, man. And we gotta start looking at these guys who are making, we gotta start even in the army, for certain jobs, you get a psyche valve to make sure that you are mentally equipped in order to handle the job. So it gets old, and sometimes I hate talking about these topics because, yeah, guess what? I used to be in those situations
Well, big
where situational awareness was key, where you had to be careful, where you had to think before you act. You just couldn't go around here being trigger happy. No, you had to really look around, see what's going on, get positive ID. Hey, is my comrades okay? Is everybody around me okay? Am I putting people in danger? Am I scaring people? Am I doing more harm than good? You had to make that in a split second. So for the things to be happening now and people to be justifying those things is crazy. And that's like I'm on like dealing with a lot of the subjects that come up today because, like I said, I've lived through those. I've been taught by that. Even when I walk into a building, you look and see and look around, pay attention, especially when you have other people's lives in your hands. So it's disgusting to me. I'm tired of it, and it's a disgrace. You're
it
not,
is.
you're not. These guys, they walk around here with their chest out, and it's disgusting.
Big fella, look, I know you didn't want to talk about this, but unfortunately, I had to because if I didn't, I'd be doing us, the audience, a disservice. And you always told me we have to get comfortable being uncomfortable.
Right.
Because again, these are subjects I wish we, of all the subjects, this is the last one I would not want to talk about. But when it's involving the world and society, I mean, I can't just sit back there and pretend like nothing didn't happen. It's just disgraceful. It's inexcusable where we are as a society in this world, and it's just enough. What are we gonna hear next? We're gonna hear another shooting, another school shooting regarding kids. We really want that again? We want to hear another tragedy or travesty because with the rate that we're going, nowhere to go but worse. And it's just a damn shame when people who continue to justify or excuse this behavior, that tells me you have no soul. It really does. You really don't care because it's not affecting you. But suddenly you'll start to change once it does affect you. Not saying I wish that upon anyone, But what's it going to take for people to understand and realize we need to make change? It's really devastating, really heartbroken to what happened. Before we start off the show, real quick, let's just have a quick moment of silence. Thank you. Um, this is I just hope for us and for we just get better after this. We just we just have to grow. We just have to get better as a society. Renee Nicole Good, the woman who was shot by the ICE officer, only 37 years old. All right, fellas. Thank you for. I know it was very uncomfortable for us to discuss this, but the show must go on. Thank you, fellas, for hopping on to the Sports PSP podcast. You know, of course, a lot of stuff that we got to talk about regarding the NFL, NBA. Thank you for always tuning in. Please make sure like and subscribe to the podcast. Thank you for everyone who always checks out the podcast, for always helping us out. Um, I know it's difficult, especially with the conversation that we just had. Um, sorry, it was a very uncomfortable subject for us to discuss. Again, of all conversations, we don't want to have this type of conversation, but show must go on. Big fella, do you need to take some time off or something? You good?
Good. Let's go. Let's do it.
All right, all right, fellas. Let's talk about the conversation regarding the Atlanta Falcons. The Atlanta Hawks. Obviously, the big news, they traded Trae Young to the Washington Wizards. I mean, Sham Charania, he broke the report. It was no surprise that he wanted out of Atlanta. Atlanta Hawks right now, especially with how the way Jalen Johnson has been playing basketball this season, playing at an all-star caliber level. And because with the Atlanta Hawks, they were able to free up. So they don't have to worry about the $49 million player option for Trae Young. Washington, that's in their concerns. I think Atlanta won the trade, even though they didn't get draft compensation. But still, in all, you move on from Trae Young. You were able to get another shot creator and ball handler in CJ McCollum to pair him up with the offense. You have a nice nucleus with him, Alexander Walker, Dyson Daniels, Kurt Leonard. So I like this for the Atlanta Hawks, BRF. I think the Hawks clearly won this one. For whatever reason, they just feel like they've seen enough of Trae Young. They like where Jalen Johnson, his trajectory, and they want to move on from Trae Young. So I'm happy for the Atlanta Hawks in that aspect. As for the Wizards, it seemed to me the only reason why he chose Washington was because of the money. And that's really about it. Because if any other team, if he decided to say, let's go to the Lakers or let's go to any other team, they're not going to pay Trae Young the max. And I don't think anybody at this point wants Trae Young at this juncture in his career. Now, if it were Trae Young after the Eastern Conference Finals appearance or when he was 23, 24 years old, that's understandable. But at this point, I think DC was the only team that was out there to pay him. And you talked about the starting lineup with him and Sarr and Johnson and them, but the bench, and they don't have the money. So BRF, I'll let you start off with this one.
Well, I gotta say, and apologize for the background. I don't know. This mic always picks up everything in his house, so I apologize ahead of time.
That's all good.
Okay, but now what I will say is, I definitely enjoyed this move. Well, I'm not gonna say enjoyed because I was one of the biggest Trae Young supporters, especially when they went on that Eastern Conference Finals run, and everybody's now like, oh, it's a fluke, it's a fluke. Well, you know what? Hindsight's 2020. That team in 2021 was just so built. Was probably I'll probably say the best built team that Trae Young had, and it just allowed to exploit all of his skills and all of his attributes, and you see where they were. You had John Collins, who an athletic guy who could shoot, who could give you a good jump shot, but he could run the floor. I mean, he excelled in transition. Clint Capella got you rebounds, extra possessions. Danilo Gallinari, veteran, could shoot, could create off the dribble. Kevin Herter was basically like his partner in crime. They came in like same time. Basically his partner in crime. That team was just built to perfection. That's why they was able to get so far, and they was able to beat some teams that some people say, maybe they shouldn't have beat them, but at the end of the day, they did. The reason why I like this trade, well, it's not just for the salary cap clearance. It's, you look at the players that they acquired in the deal in terms of CJ McCollum and Corey Kispert. I like the acquisitions. CJ McCollum, like if Dyson Daniels is going to be your starting point, CJ McCollum gives you a second team guy who can come off the bench, give you 15, 20 a night. CJ McCollum is still that type of scorer. You've seen it on nights this year with the Washington Wizards. CJ McCollum can score when you need him to score. Corey Kispert gives you another sniper from the 3-point line that you can bring off of the second team, or you can alternate with Luke Kennard off of the bench, and it gives you another shooter. It gives you a little more depth at positions that you need it. Because I mean, now you're adding Corey Kispert with Luke Kennard and Vic Krejci. Vic Krejci shooting like 47-48% from three this year, like absolutely like stroking the three ball this year. He's doing his thing. And I think everybody's going to look at the big thing, which is the money that the Atlanta Hawks cleared. I mean, right now they basically have like $40 million worth of cap space. They got rid of Trae Young so they can go after one of these heavy duty, big time guys. And right now, the target right now is more and more looking like it's going to be Anthony Davis. And I know some people are like, well, and hey, we hear, Anthony Davis isn't the most available player. And I agree with that. And because some people are saying, maybe they should try Giannis. I'm like, nah, I think if you're looking at the Hawks, the way they're constructed, if you want fit, I think Anthony Davis is probably a better fit for the Hawks as currently constructed than Giannis. From the standpoint, I look at Anthony Davis having a slightly better jump shot, even though, and they're both really good in transition. Don't get me wrong; they're great rim protectors. They're great rim protectors. They're great in transition when it comes to finishing and defense and all of that. Because when Anthony Davis is on the floor, in my opinion, he's still one of the top 5 defenders in the league. When he's on the floor, he is still an elite defender. But I think a lot of people are just looking at it from the standpoint of, well, there goes the Hawks, letting somebody go for nothing again. And it's like, hey, look, the Hawks are honestly, when you look at the Hawks from a draft capital perspective, they have that protected pick where whoever finishes worst between New Orleans and Milwaukee will get that pick. And if I'm not mistaken, they have another pick, which I think is Cleveland's. So like wherever Cleveland finishes, Atlanta's going to have that pick as well. So Atlanta's in a really, really good spot. And people got to think, let's say Atlanta does get on a run here and they make a good run. Maybe not necessarily win a championship, but they make the playoffs and they make a run. So imagine a team making the playoffs, making a decent run, and then you're looking at a possible top 3 draft pick when you look at the New Orleans Pelicans and where they could potentially finish, because they're one of, if not the worst teams in the NBA. So imagine if the New Orleans Pelicans finishes with like a bottom 3 record, and you're the Atlanta Hawks, and you have your choice of AJ DeBanza, Cam Boozer, or Darren Peterson. Like, if you're the Atlanta Hawks, you're sitting on cloud 9 knowing you're going to get one of those 3 prospects, who are 3 of the best prospects we have seen come in the league in a long time. A guy like Darren Peterson, a combo guard who can play point, play 2, can give you buckets. A guy like AJ DeBanza, who's one of the most athletic wings, 2-way wings we've seen in a long time, and Cam Boozer, who is a big who can create his own shot off the dribble. How crazy is that? The skill set that all 3 of these guys possess, and Atlanta, if they finish in the top 3, are guaranteed to end up with one of them, and all 3 of them fit what the Atlanta Hawks are trying to do. So the Atlanta Hawks are honestly in a dream situation right now with unloading Trae Young and clearing up that cap space, because not only do you have that pick, now you can go out and acquire talent. If you go out and acquire Anthony Davis at the trade deadline, honestly probably not going to end up eating up all that money. So maybe you go out and get something like a lower level, like or a mid-level guy like that. So the Hawks are in a really, really good situation to really do something by trading Trey Young and clearing that money up and having that draft capital that they have. They are in a really good spot right now. And it's like I was telling y'all before the show, honestly, Salah has been doing his thing as the general manager. I mean, he's recognized what the teams needed and he's going after it. Hey, in the offseason, we looked at the Kristaps Porzingis trade. It made sense from a standpoint of what Kristaps Porzingis bring. I feel like what they're going to do as far as trying to acquire Anthony Davis, I feel like the Mavericks are looking at expiring contracts. So more than likely, I think the Hawks would probably trade Kristaps Porzingis in a trade if you're trying to get Anthony Davis. But I mean, you have pieces there in Atlanta that you can unload
I would
if
love
you
to.
can pull off a trade.
I would keep Porzingis if I have to trade Anthony Davis or just to get rid of Porzingis. I keep Porzingis because I like Porzingis's rim protection, and even though Porzingis has durability problems, BRF though, do you trust Anthony Davis at this juncture? Yes, when healthy, we know when healthy he's one of the top 10 players in the NBA, but. And again, his contract is not like Trey Young's contract, which is why I think Atlanta, y'all won this one clearly
Oh yeah, they
because
definitely won this one. Yeah.
you don't have to worry about the $49 million player option for 2026, 2027. And we know that Trey Young doesn't bring a lot of value as far as with the defense. After all, he's listed at 6'1", a buck 64. So you don't expect him to play much on the defense. And look, outside of the perimeter shot, I think Trey Young in DC, he'll just make him relevant just by name or name alone, and with the starting lineup, but it's not really to say anything. If you have told me if you have told me I would have gotten Trey Young when he was 23, 24 years old, and you have gotten some draft compensation, that would be even better for Atlanta. But you still won this one. And it was interesting how he found out the trade during a game the other night. He was on the sideline during the game.
Well, he knew it. Well, the thing is with that, he knew it was coming.
Yeah,
So
he knew it was coming
just,
because he announced that he wanted to be traded. But
exactly.
Still,
But he honestly, what it was just he was out there. He was kind of taking everything in. He knew it was coming, and it wasn't. A lot of times, it might have been a shock. It wasn't a shock to him. Like
he demanded the trade. You say you wanted to be traded. This is not like the Luka trade. But
no.
I think for Atlanta, whether Jalen Johnson is going to be the guy or not, he's been playing unbelievable so far.
Yeah, he has.
And I like Dyson Daniels coming out of the draft. All I said was over time, his jump shot will improve. But I like what he can do as far as with the passing. He has great NBA size at the guard position. He can give you some defense. In some ways, he kind of reminds me to a little bit of Lonzo Ball. In some ways, Lonzo Ball because of the size and because of the basketball IQ. I think for Atlanta, y'all won this one. And y'all 9th seed in the Eastern Conference. Recently, you just beat the New York Knicks. And y'all 16-13 without Trey Young. So
exactly. They went back-to-back nights beating the Minnesota Timberwolves and the New York Knicks, who are both really, really good offensive teams, and shut them both down.
Right.
So the potential's there. The potential's there for this team. They just have to be more consistent on a nightly basis.
Big fella.
Oh man, I hate to lose a superstar like that because it reminds me so much when I was a child how Neat was, sent to the Clippers for Danny Manning. But in this case right here, I gotta agree with BRF. Gotta agree with BRF. As an adult, you are allowed to change your opinion once you get a lot of facts. And I think that Jalen Johnson, not only is he, very, very talented, I think he could be the guy. He's a hell of a lot less low. He's a lot more low maintenance, I will say. Because if you remember correctly, there was 2 teams involved in trades. Both of them said hell no. So, both of them said no to a full-time all-star. What went on in that locker room? So, especially when Minnesota, you know, so, but you got to ask yourself that. And, he's a liability on the defensive side of the ball. You know, yeah, there's a lot to be desired with this trade. I wish we could have got another pick so we could, fully justify. If it would have been the two players in a pick, yeah. But, it's tough to see around the corner when it's just two players for an offensive juggernaut like a Trae Young. Granted, his durability has gone down a little bit. When durability goes down, then everything else kind of suffers at a certain point. But you certainly miss a superstar like that, especially when you had the city on fire going to the Eastern Conference Finals for the first time since the Budenholzer era, when you had the Monte Carroll, you had
2014-2015 season. That was the
yeah,
year in which Atlanta had the number 1 seed and got swept by the Cavs in the Eastern Conference Finals.
yeah, that was the first time we ever made the conference final since then. So you're definitely gonna miss him. It's quite good that I have tickets to that game when he returns to Atlanta. So
Which date?
yeah,
Which date is the home game?
that's the 20. Hold on, let me go to my ticket real quick.
Because they play them the 24th and the 26th.
Yes,
Yeah,
February.
you pay him in February.
Mm-hmm.
And I bought the
Yes.
ticket right. I bought the ticket right before he got traded because
Oh,
it
you
was
want? Oh, you won this one, big fella. Here's why. 3 reasons. 1, you go to Atlanta. 2, you get to see the rematch. 3, Black History Month. And 4, you get to deal with them wags.
yeah, all four. Then we go to Magic City afterward. But yeah,
Oh, shoot.
on Tuesday the
Or Waffle
24th,
House.
yeah, Tuesday the 24th, that's when he returns on the
Okay.
the
Okay.
7:30 game, and I got HD tickets, so thank God I got him early.
Ooh.
No, I got him early because I didn't know he was gonna get traded.
Okay.
I just thought that
Hey, still.
that
Yeah.
was just one of those games where you sneak up and kind of get you some good seats because they're playing a bad team. You don't realize he's finna get traded, but those city might be
Exactly.
on
Not only did you get some good tickets, now you go into a game with some narrative behind it. So it's like,
Yeah,
oh yeah,
so,
you kind of hit the jackpot a little bit on that one.
yeah, $84. So yes, indeed.
Hey.
So, but I'm just excited, man, about what's gonna happen in Atlanta, man. I'm hoping that one day that city is starving for a champion, man. And I would love for it to be in basketball as well. I'm a Laker fan and what have you, but I'm always going to cheer for the home team. I bleed red and black, and it's always good when your home state team good. Like I said, I never forgave the Hawks for trading my guy. I never forgave him for that. So yeah, after Neek left, I was like, you know what, y'all on y'all own. But that really bothered me. Like I said, always die hard Lakers, but you love to see the home team win. Love to see the home team win. But after Neek, I had to, yeah, no.
I
But
gotta admit, as a Jersey dude who lives not too far away from New York City, until the Washington Wizards get into playoff contention, I'm gonna miss those Knicks fans yelling "fuck Trae Young."
yeah, I mean they still gonna be able to say it.
Oh,
but
they're
They're
gonna-
still gonna say it, but not as much though.
it's
That's
not
the
gonna
thing.
be as significant as it is, because it's been a long time since we had our guy, that being on the basketball court.
I mean,
And-
to
and I
Knicks
want-
fans nowadays, he's the modern version of Reggie Miller.
Yeah, so it's been a long time since Atlanta had their guy, where you could really get behind him. A lot of cats really, we had the DeMonte Carroll team, but that was more of a team thing. We didn't have our guy there. Dominique Wilkins was our guy. Trae Young was our guy. Those two guys that you could really, really look at, say those are our guys. So it's kind of hard when you see our guys get traded because those are the guys we rattle around. Not to mention, man, look, when you think about how Trae Young went head to head with the Knicks, throwing dice on the floor and doing stuff like that. And it was equivalent to how Dominique Wilkins used to go head up with the Boston Celtics.
But that was
It was
exciting.
equivalent to that.
It-
They
it-
used to
but-
go head up with the Boston Celtics. I never forget at one point, Larry Bird was about to break the scoring record, for most points in a game. And I never forget Dominique Wilkins had said, you know, guys on our bench was cheering for him. And he said, I went in the locker room. I said, I'm finna make sure every last one of y'all get fined. He said, I'm finna make sure every last one of you get fined. He said, you don't cheer for the enemy, but that's who you want. It's been a while since we had. Not everybody liked the Joe Johnson and not everybody liked the Joe Johnson and Josh Smith team. Not everybody liked them.
I'll say this. I knew those teams had a ceiling, but I personally love those teams.
Yeah.
I love the athleticism. I loved having guys that were just bucket getters, because my favorite of those squads was the it was like Joe Johnson, Josh Smith, Josh Childress, Jamal Crawford coming off the bench. Mike Bibby was the point guard. I personally love those teams. They took, as an H seed, taking the Boston Celtics to 7 games. Even though we lost that series, that is still one of my all-time Atlanta Hawks highlights. To have a team like that, Zaza Pachulia, giving Kevin Garnett the business the entire series, that is one of my all-time Hawks moments. I personally love that team. But I will say this, though, to one of your points, PSP, if the Atlanta Hawks, because you were saying you'd rather keep KP. I personally feel like with the Dallas Mavericks wanting expiring contracts, I see no way he's not included. But if the Hawks were to swing something and they kept both, bro. Me personally, though, I don't see an Anthony Davis trade without that expiring contract just to make the money work. That's just me.
And plus, how would Porzingis would be fitted in Dallas, given how he and Luka didn't work out? It's because it was reported that he and Luka didn't see eye to eye. Now that Luka is now with Los Angeles, I don't know how he would feel comfortable being back in Dallas.
He'd be the guy, because he honestly, if he could stay healthy, he would be the guy, from the standpoint of not only did Luka get traded, and then you have Anthony Davis in Atlanta. There's a Kyrie story that we haven't talked about yet that we may talk about at some point in this show. So I'm just saying.
But I think Dallas, if he's going to be the guy, I don't know about that. I would just try to do what I can to build the franchise around Cooper Flag, who's been playing pretty well.
Agree.
Who's been playing pretty well.
Cooper Flag. Oh, yeah. Okay. I won't say the guy, but he would be the clear number 2.
Yeah, complimentary star at best.
Yeah.
And when you look at these NBA players coming into the draft, AJ Dynasty, you got Darren Peterson out of Kansas. You got Carlos Boozer's son, Cam Boozer. Some really good talent heading into this draft class. So it's going to be interesting to see. So, of course, even though we focus in on football, we're going to spend a lot more time watching some basketball, not just on the NBA, but also on the college basketball level. And of course,
this 2026 NBA draft is probably, this is one I haven't been as excited or looking forward to an NBA draft like this one. I haven't been excited in a long time for a draft. So this is going to be a fun draft, because this year is going to be deep.
It really is. It really is, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun, man. To give y'all an update, Ole Miss is up 7-3 right now in the bowl game right now in the Fiesta Bowl. K'Wan Lacey just ran it in 73 yards for a touchdown. Ole Miss has a 7-3 lead.
Is that Kyron Lacey's brother?
K'Wan Lacey.
K'Wan, I'd have to look that up. He might be. Because he do kind of look like him.
Yeah, hold on. Let me see.
The Ole Miss running back, 5'11". Let me see. His brother. I don't know. I mean, I'm still looking at it right now. No. It says here, according to AI Overview, K'Wan Lacey and Kyron Lacey are not related. They just happen to
Mhm,
share the
okay.
same popular Lacey name. So,
Okay.
that happens. So it
Yeah.
is what it is, man. But shout out to our guy Dwayne Coleman. He was talking about Todd Monken. He just confirmed in the interview that he's leaving the Baltimore Ravens. I don't know what he's referring to. So
Come back to Georgia, Todd Monken.
and
Please.
and he also said, shout out to Sports Guy Talking. Please go check him out on YouTube. Todd Monken and Lamar Jackson had issues working together. Damn, all them issues, and Lamar Jackson was giving you MVP caliber seasons. If that's the type of issues you had, hey,
I want to
I
have
don't
some
know.
more of them.
I don't
I
know. I
want some of
mean,
them issues.
I want some of them issues because at the end of the day, but look, y'all, I already did the video. Ravens firing Harbaugh after 18 years. They decided to end it. It comes down to Harbaugh or Lamar. Look, comes down to the franchise quarterback or the head coach. Obviously, the head coach is going to be the one out the door. No way they're going to let Lamar out the door, considering the fact that Lamar Jackson is not even 29 years old yet. There have been reports about some teams taking a shot at John Harbaugh, whether the Miami Dolphins, New York Giants. Shout out to our guy, Champ. You know him very well, Mike Patton,
Yeah.
who is a freelance writer, journalist, covers the Tennessee Titans. He wrote a compelling article about the Titans, how they've saved up over $100 million in cap space, and how they have some excellent young players to look forward to, like in Cam Ward, also with Cedric Lacey, the linebacker, obviously the best interior lineman in football, Jeffrey Simmons. So there's a lot of good things to look forward to in Tennessee, but in a state with no income taxes. But with John Harbaugh, I wasn't so surprised at all because look, the last couple of years, the opportunity for Baltimore was get to a Super Bowl or win one. They came up short. 2023, losing in the AFC Championship game against Kansas City. No shame to that. Obviously, there's more pain when y'all lost to the divisional round against the Buffalo Bills, particularly Mark Andrews, and how devastating that was. And then last year, and I'm sorry, in last Sunday's game. And for the record, for people on going on social media going after the Ravens kicker, stop.
Yeah.
Please stop because look, I understand you're frustrated, you're disappointed with the loss, the outcome. I get that, but the type of comments y'all putting out on social media regarding the kicker, wishing for him and his marriage to be bad and stuff like that, that's ridiculous. We have
Exactly. Get a
so
grip. It's a
exactly.
football game.
And of course, shout out to the lovely Kia. I told you the only reason why I picked the Steelers was only because of one reason only, and that's her. She just made. I told you, champ, you were wrong on that one.
Yes, indeed.
But look, to make a long story short, guys, I'm not surprised at all with John Harbaugh. I think any team should take him. Now, should he do the Sean Payton by taking a year off of football, try to reflect, take some time off? But look, if any team is offering you the max, hey, grab it. I'm sure y'all Georgia boys, y'all would love to have him in a heartbeat. Now that Raheem Morris is gone, they moved on. They moved on from the other executives for Atlanta. I think Atlanta, if you need stability, he's your guy. He's a head coach. He can obviously we know his record: 18 years, 180 and 113, 13 and 11 playoff record. With him, with this amount of talent, Atlanta should go nowhere but up. We talk about Atlanta with all the issues with Raheem Morris, Zach Robinson, the offensive coordinator. I still think you need to get a quarterback because, of course, Michael Penix Jr. and again, BRF, even though you convinced Champ, hey, we didn't have to get Dallas Turner. We got Jalen Walker. We got the other pass rusher for our future. But at the same time, taking Michael Penix Jr. with the 8th overall pick was a huge risk only because of his durability history. So if you're Atlanta, I think you should do whatever you can to get your hands on John Harbaugh. And if you're not going to get him, who do you want? You want Kevin Stefanski after what you saw from him in Cleveland? even though he's a 2-time coach of the year. So, or better yet, you want Mike McCarthy? And Mike McCarthy did his thing in Dallas for a little bit. Or worst case scenario, who you want? Jason Garrett? You want the clapper? So I know you don't want that. I know you don't want them type of problems.
I'm not laughing at what you said.
Yeah, clapping. Clapping in the football game and clapping all the way to Magic City and stuff like that. Y'all want that? But I think you should really look at Robert Saleh, to Dwayne's point. And I mentioned it. You should look at Robert Saleh. I think Robert Saleh, he doesn't have to deal with the press in Baltimore like he did in New York. And he doesn't have to deal with Aaron Rodgers. You got Lamar Jackson, who is one of the top 4 quarterbacks in football. And the other reason John Harbaugh was fired, look at the draft class they had with Malachi Starks from one of y'all schools, UGA. I mean, considering the amount of Mike Brown, and considering the fact that you got Derrick Henry in free agency, so considering the amount of talent y'all had, and still couldn't even get to an AFC Championship game or a Super Bowl after 2023. What does it say? And the defense, you also look at how the team fell apart. And you look at Mike McDonald, what he has done with the Seattle Seahawks. They have the number 1 seed in the NFC. They have one of the top defenses in pro football. And seeing what the defense is with Baltimore right now, a huge drop off. And Baltimore is known for defense from Ray Lewis, Ed Reed, Terrell Suggs, Haloti Ngata, and again, Champ still can't believe to this day that the Chicago Bears traded Roquan Smith to the Ravens. Still to this day, he doesn't understand why.
I still can't, because I looked up for a second round pick. You traded an all-pro linebacker for a second round pick. I spent literally 3 days trying to look up, is there a criminal charge on him or something? Because you was able to get him for a second round pick. Wow.
So it's a culmination of things, but Harbaugh in the end, eventually he couldn't get the job done. I think where Harbaugh should go, if he goes to the New York Giants, there's somewhere between 8 to 15 million, 18 million in cap space. Who wouldn't want to coach that team with Jackson Dart, Scatterboo, the running back? Malik Neighbors is coming back of injury, and they have a top pick in the draft. So I would love that. And not only that, with that defensive line with Burns and Dexter Lawrence and Thibodeau and Abdul Carter, what they really need is more depth, a top tier corner. That's what the Giants could use. So there's Atlanta, there's New York. I wouldn't mind Tennessee, but Tennessee, that's like for the future. If you're trying to compete right now, but I wouldn't mind Atlanta or New York, especially Atlanta, considering the amount of talent y'all have. Raheem Morris is gone. What you really need to do, I just need to know, is Zach Robinson gone?
He should be.
He should be.
I don't know. I don't think he's gone yet, but
I don't understand why.
I don't know. I mean, because I feel like
they're waiting to see who's going to come in.
Yeah, and
may fall.
And Arthur Blank had a press conference today. He vouched for Jeff Ulbrich. He did not vouch for Zach Robinson.
Well, you saw the job Jeff Ulbrich did with the defense, and they have a loaded defense. The only controversy you heard with Jeff Ulbrich was his son when he prank called Shedeur Sanders during the time of the draft. But I think with Arthur Blank, you got to move on from Zach Robinson. With that amount of talent, you should fire him. And if there's any reports about Todd Monken leaving Baltimore, you better get your hands on Todd Monken. And I don't care if Todd Monken had issues with Lamar Jackson. For Lamar Jackson to have these types of numbers in 2024, and mind you, he didn't win the MVP. That was Josh Allen. And that was Lamar's first time in his career, 40 touchdown passes, over 4,000 yards. Aaron Rodgers has numbers. Whatever problems or issues that they've had, and Lamar Jackson has had to miss games this season due to injury. Whatever problems Todd Monken and Lamar Jackson have, hey, bring them. Because if I'm getting this type of production from Lamar Jackson, who if he ended his career today, he's going to the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Say whatever you want about Lamar Jackson. He's going to the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And yes, Dwayne, I agree. I do not want the Commanders' offense, Cliff Kingsbury, as a head coach. I'm sorry, Cliff Kingsbury, not for this type of offense if Michael Penix Jr. is healthy. Now, if you could get someone that is equivalent to Michael Penix Jr.'s talent, if you're trying to get Mac Jones, if Cliff Kingsbury's the head coach, no, that's a bad fit. Because Mac Jones is not the type of athlete that Jaden Daniels or any other quarterback in Cliff Kingsbury's air raid offense. So, BRF, I'll let you go. What were your thoughts about John Harbaugh being fired?
I honestly was not surprised. Honestly, I'm gonna keep it 100 with you. I felt like whoever lost that game between the Ravens and the Steelers were probably gonna fire their head coach. That's honestly how I treated that game, and that's how I looked at game. How I looked at that game. They were fighting for not only the playoffs, but those coaches were coaching for their jobs, and Harbaugh, being on the unfortunate end of that, just happened to lose his job after this. So I honestly was not surprised. I was expecting the loser of that game, the coach, to get fired. That's what I was expecting. Um, the thing I think that kind of trips me out the most about a lot of fans down here and discussions as far as John Harbaugh are concerned is they're not happy with the idea of John Harbaugh as our head coach, and I'm thinking like, why? I mean, I get it. If you're looking at guys in the past, like okay, like an example, like somebody posted a tweet talking about the last six Super Bowl champions, how they were all offensively minded coaches, whether it was Bruce Arians with Tampa or Andy Reid winning the 3 out of 4 or Sean McVay getting his, Nick Sirianni winning last year. They're offensively minded coaches. But at the same time, and the point that they made was that they can call plays, they can travel, they can take what they can do anywhere because they can call a play. John Harbaugh isn't made like that. But at the same time, though, when you look at a guy like John Harbaugh, who's been with a team for 18 years, and you had mentioned the 13-11 playoff record, to add a little more context to that, he's won as a head coach. He's won more road playoff games than any coach in NFL history. 8 of those 13 wins were road playoff games. He's won more road playoff games than any coach in the history of the league. So I'm sorry, that travels just as much. A guy who's a great motivator, a great leader of men who can get up when it's time to get up and get your guys ready to go. John Harbaugh could be in a situation like, I'll use an example. Andy Reid, when he was with the Philadelphia Eagles, when he got fired, when it was pretty much like his voice just kind of got stale. And I feel like that was kind of what happened with the Ravens. Harbaugh's voice got stale. So maybe he needs to go somewhere to kind of rejuvenate himself to show that he could still do it. Why not it be a team like the Atlanta Falcons, who pretty much have just about everything in place? I mean, outside of the quarterback, and I'm not ready to give up on Penix yet. I just want to see where his health brings him and how he can kind of come back and adapt and continue to develop as a quarterback. But I mean, you have Bijan Robinson, who I think right now just might be the best player in the National Football League. You have Drake London, who is in top 5 wide receiver conversations at one point. You got Kyle Pitts, who had a rejuvenation type of year, who I would franchise right now and not even think twice about it and just give him the 15 mil and let him come back on another prove it type of situation.
Do you think he's a top 10 tight end, BRF?
Easy. He's in top 5 conversations. He was in top 5 conversations this season. Easy top 10 tight end in the league, and he was in top 5. He has to be in top 5 conversations just because of how he when he got going. Even in games where the numbers weren't there, you could see the impact. You could see the route running was there again, and then when Zach Robinson finally decided, hey, you know what? He's a matchup nightmare. Maybe if I put him more in motion and get him going, get him up against linebackers, he is like one of the most difficult matchups in the National Football League, regardless of offensive position. So I'm franchising him and I'm bringing him back. The one I definitely don't see coming back is probably Tyler Algier. But you know what? Tyler Algier deserves to be a starter in the National Football League. So if he wants to leave and try to get starter money on another team, Tyler, you go. Because if anybody deserves to be a starter in this league, it's you. So if he comes back, hey, I'm selfish. If he comes back, I'm great because I feel like Bijan and Tyler might be the best duo in the league. There are very few duos that are on the level of Bijan and Tyler. There are very few, if any. But Tyler Algier deserves to be a starter. Then you go to that defense, whether it's Jalen Walker, whether it's James Pierce, who had 10 and a half sacks as a rookie, where I told people I felt James Pierce might be the most pro-ready pass rusher that was coming out of the draft. And look, behold, he leads all rookies with 10 and a half sacks. 10 and a half sacks. I mean, and you could just see, yeah, exactly. You could just see you could just see the skill set. You could see the attributes. You could see the pass rushing bag he was already coming in the league with. You could just see it. So I mean, everything I feel like is there. Like AJ Terrell and Xavier Watts in the defensive backfield with Jesse Bates. And shout out to D Alford. What a year you had, sir. Like shout out to you. So this team is really set up if they wanted to go and get a veteran coach who knows how to win like a John Harbaugh. I see no reason why fans are like, oh no, we shouldn't do it. He's too set in his ways. He's too old school. He's like, da da da. Like, hey, we are the Atlanta Falcons. We are in no way, shape, or form. We don't have the leverage to talk about what coach we want and what coach we don't want. If a guy like John Harbaugh makes himself available, you better do all you can to bring him in the building and at least wine and dine him, talk about what you're trying to do, the future of the franchise, the outlook of your team, especially if you, because all rumors behold, everything's pointing to they're probably going to end once the interview process kind of is up for the president of football. It's going to end up being Matt Ryan. I mean, that's the rumor, and they want him. So it's like the outlook is actually a lot brighter for this team than people give it credit for. They just got to get the right coach and they got to get the right quarterback. John Harbaugh can go to a number of places, and I feel and can do really, really well. Like you have the New York Giants who's in place. You have Jackson Dart. You have Cam Scatterboo. You have Malik Neighbors. The tight end Theo Johnson had a breakout year, and then you have that front seven. You have that pass rush, that defensive line with Thibodeau, Dexter Lawrence, who I feel is the best interior lineman in football. You have Brian Burns, Lawrence, Thibodeau, Abdul Carter. I mean, just that. I mean, they're ferocious. I mean, they are really hard to stop. And I think John Harbaugh would lick his chops.
And they would have a great chance. And they would have a great chance of running the NFC East, because if you look at Philadelphia, despite their defense, with Cooper DeJean, Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, and them, offensively, they've had their issues. And again, Jalen Hurts is going to have to learn once again from another offensive coordinator. And then when you look at Washington, they just fired Cliff Kingsbury, who's going to be the offensive coordinator. Only time will tell. And Dan Quinn. I mean, Champ, I think you sent me the video of Dan Quinn having some good seasons, but then late in the year, he's had some blown out games. And we've seen it before, and it's becoming evident. I mean, obviously, the NFC Championship game. First time we've been to the conference championship game since 1991. And we got beat the brakes out of Philadelphia, although I wasn't really that surprised. So when I look at, I wouldn't mind them going to the NFC East, because Dallas, they just fired back Eberflus, and I don't think they're probably going to hire Brian Flores. I mean, the Ravens, they may look at him for a head coach, and there are going to be some other teams that may look at Brian Flores as a head coach, because Ravens just really need defense. Offense they have. They just need to get their defense together, and losing Mike McDonald was a huge blow to the team, because you see what he's doing right now for Seattle. Other than Mike Vrabel, you can make a strong case for him winning Coach of the Year. So, and then Tennessee, yeah, the cap space, they have over $100 million in cap space. They got some good players, but is Tennessee going anywhere anytime soon? So probably not so.
No.
So with Atlanta, how much cap space, if y'all had to say right now, y'all have?
Well, after we release,
Well, with them, they got about it's like 37, 38 because they just restructured Kirk.
So that's a good thing for y'all since y'all restructured Kirk Cousins' contract. And I think with Kirk Cousins, to Kirk Cousins' credit, a little bit while he was playing, he did a solid job. I'm not going to
He
say
did.
spectacular or anything, but he played solid enough. Kirk Cousins' problem, and the thing is, champ, even though you know that Kirk Cousins is not the type of guy for you, but he's the type of quarterback you and mind playing with because he's going to say he's going to do all the right things. He's going to handle his business. He's going to be a consummate professional. The thing about Kirk Cousins, he brings no drama or controversy. So you're willing to deal with that. And I think with Michael Penix Jr., he's shown some flashes that he can be a top 10 quarterback. We've seen some games this season, especially the New England game. I thought overall he outplayed Drake May, who Drake May is about to be the MVP. Even though BRF, you have Matthew Stafford, I wouldn't mind you giving it to Stafford, but I do think that Seattle Seahawks game in which they had that 16-point lead and then losing Monday Night Football against y'all Falcons, I think that's what's going to cost them. But I think for me, if you're Atlanta, you got to get John Harbaugh. And if you're not, okay, to Mike Patton's point, should you look at an offensive-minded guy? Because you have the talent. It's just the scheme.
Yeah, if it's not John Harbaugh, I definitely think they're going to go with an offensive-minded coach. I think the one everybody's really talking about right now is either the two they're talking about is either Clint Kubiak or hate to say his name, but you have to it's Kevin Stefanski. Kevin Stefanski's being thrown around here in Atlanta, and his last 2 years weren't that good. But at the same time, when you look at,
I got a suggestion.
Mhm.
Since y'all love Todd Monken so much, why not y'all let him be the head coach?
I don't know if he's ready for NFL yet. I don't know if he's ready to be an NFL head coach yet. I still think he's a really, really good offensive coordinator. I would love to have him down here and as an OC. Me personally, if we can get our hands on Mike McDaniel as the OC, hey, I'm in it. I'm in it to win it. If we can get our hands on Mike McDaniel as an OC. But yeah.
But you dealt with Arthur Smith. But you dealt with Arthur Smith all these years and shit. Look, I'm just saying, you got to get
no, you go ahead.
You got to get yourself an offensive type of guy, or you want to get a guy who can provide stability or structure.
Agreed.
And Todd Monken, look, even though him and Lamar Jackson didn't see eye to eye, I don't care. Look at the numbers. Lamar Jackson has gotten so much better as a passer. Doesn't Todd Monken play a role in that? Regardless of their issues. And if you look at Todd Monken, hey, if he's not, imagine him going somewhere else. Or you can look at the OC from the Rams, LaFleur.
Matt's brother.
I wouldn't mind that. Plus, Matt LaFleur, since again he has connection with the Georgia ties, maybe his brother Matt could help him out. I don't know. I'm just speculating. But y'all need to get an offensive-minded type of guy.
There are going to be a lot, real quick before you go, champ. There are going to be a lot of Falcon fans that are going to be hate watching that Green Bay Packers playoff game because rumors are swirling that if they don't do something, they might kick Matt LaFleur to the curb. So there's going to be some Falcons fans hate watching that game when Green Bay plays plays in that playoff game.
And he has connections with Atlanta. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, big fella.
Harbaugh getting fired. Is it really bad in a lot of cases for Super Bowl winning coaches to get fired? Just asking. Because if you look at 3 of the playoff teams in the NFL right about now, they had to move off of Super Bowl winning head coaches, and they're in a better position than they were. New England. Hey, they just moved off of Bill Belichick, greatest coach of all time. They're 13. They've won 13 games. So they are in prime position in order to reach another Super Bowl with Mike Vrabel. Philadelphia Eagles. They had to move off of Doug Peterson. Like I said before, the quickest way to get fired is to go to Philadelphia, Auburn, or the SEC as a head coach. They got rid of Doug Peterson, Super Bowl winning head coach. But they was able to go back not once but twice with Nick Sirianni and win another Super Bowl. They might go back again this year. So is it really bad for you to move off head coaches? Another team that you might want to look at when it comes to moving off of Super Bowl winning head coaches, and everything turns out for the best. The Seattle Seahawks. Shout out to Brandon from the block. They moved off of me. They moved off Pete Carroll. They parted ways with Pete Carroll. And if you really look at all of those teams that I just named, Seattle, New England, Philadelphia, all three of those coaches that they had to move off of, they were worse off now than they were in their previous destination. Look at Bill Belichick. Look at Pete Carroll. Look at Doug Peterson. So is moving off Super Bowl winning head coaches really bad at a certain point? Sometimes you have to move on. And sometimes that Super Bowl can't carry the weight of team progress forever. I understand you being royalty in a town, you being royalty in the stadium, but it can't carry the weight forever. That's the thing. And if you really look at it, 5 years up until Lamar was the starting quarterback, after the Super Bowl, Harbaugh only made the playoff 5 years after the Super Bowl. Those 5 years after the Super Bowl, he only made the playoffs one time during that stretch. As far as coaching is concerned, Atlanta, choose wisely. If I am Atlanta, I'm looking at Harbaugh and McDaniel. That's what I'm looking at.
Mike McDaniel.
Mike McDaniel.
Okay, but thank God you clarified that, because again, if you told me Josh McDaniels, I'm sorry, I'm getting the hell up out of here.
No, I'm looking at Harbaugh and Mike McDaniel. That's what I'm looking at right now. And if I can't get him, might as well bring Monken and Harbaugh to town. I know I'm going to get a good offense. I got two good offensive-minded coach. I got a young quarterback. Guess what? He needs to be developed, especially if I end up getting somebody that comes into the offense like a Mac Jones or even a Kyler, as everybody has. You've been hearing that.
No.
Here's what I'm hearing a lot lately. You've been hearing the rumors swirl around a lot lately about Kyler in Atlanta. So you're going to need an offensive-minded coach in order to go with the quarterback.
What that mean? But that means if you do that, big fella, do you want to bring in Cliff Kingsbury? No,
I'm not talking. No, don't bring in Cliff Kingsbury. You have to bring, like I said, Harbaugh, Monken, Harbaugh, McDaniel.
I get that, champ. But look, and the reason why I stopped your thunder, you and I, we've had this conversation several times, on and off the air, about Kyler Murray.
Yeah.
I was the one who said, yeah, I would love to see Kyler Murray with this offense, with the embarrassment amount of riches with Bijan Robinson and Algier and Pitts when he's playing at a high level, and with Drake London, and with some of the other receivers, with Mooney, and with this defense. But you've told me before, with Kyler, his attitude, his personality, and plus, I'm sorry, Kyler, they put a homework clause in your contract, and you've told me before, you know yourself, because you are a boxer yourself. You know people who are UFC fighters who go all the way to Arizona and train and condition and focus. If you can't study in a place like Arizona, what makes you think you can study in Atlanta? And plus, there are even reports about Kyler possibly going to New York. Really? Kyler's the only thing Kyler's going to be focused on is Call of Duty. Because there's no guarantee Kyler's going to assure me that he's going to study.
Yeah, but this is just rumors that are swirling around. But the thing is, I'm not ready to quit on Michael Penix Jr. I don't know what his injury's going to be like, or if it's going to leak over in the next year.
You just take Mac Jones. You have to go.
Yeah, I've been saying that for the longest. Mac Jones, or either Malik Willis. If you're gonna get super desperate, that's when you start looking into the Kyler situation. But You got to bring in an offensive-minded coach in order to thoroughly utilize the talent that's around you at this point. And look, if you really look at it, the division just got a little bit weaker. Just got a little bit weaker this year. And it's going to be interesting going forward. But if I'm Atlanta, Harbaugh's at the top of the list. Bring in as the head coach. He's at the top of the list. Ness, what's going on? So Harbaugh's at the top of the list. If I am Atlanta at this point, then I'm looking at some other options like Clint Kubiak. I'm looking at Robert Sala. I'm looking at Brian Flores. I'm looking at guys like that as well. And I'm looking at.
I thought you said Byron Leftwich.
No, I'm
No,
not.
I mean, no, it's shocking. You know, it's sad with Byron Leftwich because years ago, after that 2021 season, he could have taken the opportunity to go to Jacksonville, but he decided to stay another year with Tampa. He could have went with Jacksonville. After all, he was drafted there. He played there and stuff. But big fella, I think Harbaugh, if not Harbaugh, why not give Monken a shot? As a
I need them. I need look. I like Monken. I need you, Coach Monken. Listen to me. Number one Georgia fan in the world. I need you to carry your tail back up here to Athens so we can get Mike Bobo out of that booth. Our offense was at its best when you were here. So, Coach Monken, I need you to come back. That's the reason why, although I would love to see Todd Monken in Atlanta, either as the head coach or the offensive coordinator, what I really would like, bring that Kirby Smart, Todd Monken combo back to Georgia so we can win some more national championship. We've been doing a hell of a job in the transfer portal. Just stole the wide receiver from another team in Georgia. Had a lot of other steals in the transfer portal as well.
Oh, they got him?
Yeah, they got him. Yes, they did. Yes, you really thought I wasn't eating in the offseason?
No, I saw the report, but I didn't realize that they did snag him.
Unfortunately for Champ, he wanted to get DJ Lagway. He ended up going to Baylor. So
he ended up going to Baylor. So, but we'll get another.
Nah, we don't need a quarterback because I think we got Gunner for another year, so we don't need a quarterback.
Oh, I thought Gunner was a senior.
He's a senior? I didn't think so.
Yeah, but
or maybe he is. I don't know.
We lost Zachariah. We lost Zachariah Branch. I know Kobe Young. I think they're going to I think both of them are going to the draft at this point.
Branch, Kobe Young, Dylan Bell. I think all four receivers are going. I think all four receivers are going.
And Will Depps are gone. So, but you know, Georgia, we don't lose, we reload. So I need Todd Monken to carry yourself back up here to the University of Georgia and you reunite with Kirby Smart and get Coach Bobo up out of here. That's the thing. But would I like him in Atlanta? Yes, because I would love to see what not only Mac Jones would do if we end up getting him, but what Michael Penix Jr. would do. But at the top of the list should be a proven head coach. Look, the rap sheet is good when we get proven head coaches. Going all the way back to Dan Reeves. People wasn't very, very high up on Dan Reeves because they said, well, he couldn't win with John Elway. How could he win with anybody else? Guess what? We ended up going to a Super Bowl, eventually losing a Super Bowl, and Vic had one of its greatest seasons, one of the greatest upsets in NFL history. So those are two of the major highlights
of the 2002 season.
Yes. So
when they went to Lambeau Field and then beat Brett Favre at Brett Favre, which was a huge, huge upset.
Yes, indeed, because they didn't lose in Lambeau Field back then.
Right.
So proven coaches, Atlanta. Don't be, if you're gonna go coordinator, then guess what? I wouldn't mind you going with, you know, Clint Kubiak, someone new. I really not a big fan of Kevin Stefanski at this point in time. No, he's a good coach, but we need a top guy to come to Atlanta and breathe a breath of fresh air, a proven winner. And plus, like I said, this division is like fresh meat. It's like fresh fish.
Exactly.
Teams have gotten worse. And, you know, I'm not so sure about Bryce Young at this point still. Still has a little bit. He's been playing well, He still has a little bit more to prove that he's worth over $200 million. I'm not so sure about that as of yet. He's been playing well, but 200. There's a difference in playing well and playing $250 million well.
Which
There's a
is why I think they should pick up the 5th-year option on Bryce Young. But Dave Canales, since he's became the head coach champ, has done a really good job with the Carolina Panthers. This is not the first time since 2017 they've made the playoffs. You got to go back to the year when they went to the Super Bowl, first time since 2015. They've won the NFC title, South title. So, like with Bryce Young, I think he's got some pieces, and definitely adding Teotara McMillan, that was a huge bonus for the team. I think he's going to win Offensive Rookie of the Year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, early on it was Emeka Ibuka of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but it's going to be Teotara McMillan's to win. But I think I mean, but I got to give New Orleans a little bit more credit. I know y'all don't want to give the Aints credit, but Tyler showed lately the last few games he was looking pretty impressive, and all of us thought New Orleans made a mistake by not taking Shedeur Sanders.
I actually made a video about that prior to Atlanta. He had, I think it was 2 back-to-back 300-yard games, and the other one before that was for 275. He's been doing a damn good job, and that's another team to watch next year because I think Kellen Moore is on the verge of a lot of things, and he did that without Alvin Kamara. To BRF's point, I'm always going to give credit where credit is due. BRF did bring up that point that he was doing this without Alvin Kamara. So once he gets a back, maybe even 2 back there in order to take a little bit of pressure off him, it's going to be amazing what he can do. So I can't wait to see what Tyler Show is going to do, and maybe we can get this NFC South division back the way it used to be, regardless of who's leading the pack. The goal for each of those teams is to make the playoffs. So I remember I brought that up not too long ago. I think the Saints are owed an apology about that Tyler Show. And had he been starting at the beginning of the season, you got to ask yourself how they would have been to start for starters, if you really want me to be honest with you, considering how well he's been playing. It was like a breath of fresh air.
It was rejuvenating to actually see him play because, again, you are either him or Spencer Rattler.
Brett Favre, the broke man's version of Brett Favre, who just throws interceptions and not touchdowns. Yeah, I was never high on him. The thing is, I kept telling people when he beat Tennessee when he was in South Carolina. I told people back then, there's a difference between being a great player and playing for a contract. There's a big, huge difference. I feel the same way about Chase Young this year. There's a difference between
look at the year that he had.
Great player and playing for a contract. And I think that what Spencer Rattler did doing that Tennessee game. He was playing for his professional contract in the NFL. So Tyler showed they was absolutely right in taking him over Shedeur Sanders. And like I said, that's not to say that he is better than Shedeur. Let's be clear. But he has a better fit in New Orleans than Shedeur at this point.
Overall, he was better than what we thought or imagined because when the Saints had the 9th overall pick, we thought, okay, they need a quarterback. I mean, Shedeur with Kellen Moore, but they decided to go in a different direction with an offensive line, which at the time, looking back, okay, I can understand that. But, Jeb, where I disagree with you with Spencer Rattler, I know we're going off, but he needed to go to South Carolina somewhere to rejuvenate his career because in Oklahoma, in 2021, after his first year as a starter for the Oklahoma Sooners, you saw him regressing. He was one of the face for the NIL deals. And remember, this was during Caleb Williams' freshman year. He got so bad for Spencer Rattler. I remember the West Virginia game. It was Saturday Night Football on ABC with Chris Fowler and Kirk Herbstreit. They were chanting, "We want Caleb, we want Caleb." And then a couple of weeks later, we saw Caleb Williams take over in that game against Texas. To which, had not been for Caleb Williams, Oklahoma had no shot of winning that game. It still amazes me to that day that we won, but that was a great moment for us. I mean, that was the turning point for us in that game. But speaking of Caleb, I'm glad we mentioned Caleb because I have an interesting question for this one because we're going to go into our picks. We're going to try to keep it real short and quick as possible. Which player in the NFL right now in the playoffs is under the most pressure to get to a Super Bowl or win a Super Bowl? For me, it's Josh Allen, easily. Because no Lamar Jackson, he's sitting at home like the rest of us, and we all know Patrick Mahomes. It's simple. He is going up against a damn good defense in the Jacksonville Jaguars. And it's at Jacksonville. So I think the best thing for him, if he doesn't at least get to a conference championship or anything, then as much criticism as we give Lamar Jackson, are we going to start doing that with Josh Allen? Then after him, next on my hit list is Justin Herbert.
Yep.
Because no one can disregard what happened last year in the playoffs against the Houston Texans when he threw 4 interceptions. And he's going up against the New England Patriots. And we know
At
what
Gillette.
Mike... Yeah, at Gillette. And the last time these two teams faced each other in the playoffs, 2018, which the Patriots beat them that year, beat the Kansas City Chiefs at Arrowhead, and culminated the season by winning the Super Bowl. Justin Herbert, I'm not expecting or anticipating him to win. I expect you to have a better performance. You cannot have another lackluster performance in the playoffs, because if you do, then guess what? Philadelphia Eagles fans, they're going to try to make the argument for Jalen Hurts being top 5 and say, see, despite Justin Herbert's talent and all the skills that he has, he doesn't perform in the postseason, unlike guys like Jalen Hurts, who have made deep playoff runs, been to Super Bowls, Super Bowl title, Super Bowl MVP. Do I think Jalen Hurts is a better quarterback than Justin Herbert? No, I am not making that case. But don't be surprised if Eagles fans make that case, except Broad. Fairness to Broad, he's one of the most fair-minded Eagles fans that I know. One thing about Broad, he is not delusional. It's getting so bad for Eagles fans, they're starting to act more delusional than Cowboy fans. Trust me, I would know. I live in the Jersey area. But after Josh Allen and Justin Herbert, I want to see what Caleb Williams does. I want to see what Caleb Williams does in the playoffs. I mean, first time for Chicago. They haven't been to the playoffs since 2020. Him and Ben Johnson, the first year. Caleb Williams coming up clutch in the playoffs, coming up clutch so far in the regular season. Chicago has the number 2 seed. And what's so shocking to me with Philadelphia, the reason why Chicago clinched the number 2 seed is because they lost to Detroit. Even though they lost to Detroit, Chicago, Philly had a chance to beat Washington, but instead they decided to rest their starters because they felt like, oh, it doesn't matter. We already secured the NFC East title. What difference does it make? Well, and then, of course, the Eagles, they're under a lot of pressure, but not Jalen Hurts. I'm not concerned about Jalen Hurts. I know what he can do. I know what the defense can do. Kevin Patola is under the hot seat because with this offense have been having so many inconsistencies. Now, if there's one dude in the NFC right now that I trust, it's Matt Stafford.
Mm-hmm.
Depending on now, Matt Stafford, despite 1-8, 1-7 in the play, I'm sorry, not in the playoffs, in inclement weather, that's the only concern that Matthew Stafford has under his watch. But come playoff time, I expect him to perform. I trust Matthew Stafford. Of all the quarterbacks, I do trust. It's interesting to see the playoffs for the first time. No Mahomes, no Lamar. So you got a lot of young signal callers with Drake May, Caleb Williams. Bo Nix is under a lot of pressure too because Denver has the number 1 seed in the AFC. And he's been the biggest question link in Denver. They have a great defense, Sean Payton, but again, Bo Nix. But Bo Nix, just like Caleb Williams, finds unconventional ways to win. Matthew Stafford is the best one that I trust. Josh Allen's under the most pressure. And if we're going to hold Lamar Jackson to that standard, then why can't we hold Josh Allen? And with Justin Herbert, I'm not expecting you to win or beat New England, but I do expect you to have a far better performance than you had last year. Because we can't call you a top 5, top 6 quarterback, and then for you to be having disappointing or choke performances in the playoffs. If he keeps playing this well in the regular season, meanwhile doesn't perform in the postseason, then what is he, the James Harden of the NFL? Who wants to go?
I'll take this one. Why did anybody say Trevor Lawrence?
I think the reason why I think with Trevor Lawrence, champ, coming out of college, I've realized he's been way overhyped and overrated. And I think a lot of the media put on, like when they said he was like the next Andrew Luck, I'm sorry, I just don't see it. I just don't see it. I just don't see what they saw in which he was like the Andrew Luck of football. Because with Andrew Luck throughout his time in Stanford, he didn't have the weapons like Trevor Lawrence had at Clemson. He had Justin Ross, he had T. Higgins, he had Trevor Etienne. He did have great coaching with Jim Harbaugh and to a lesser extent David Shaw, but they weren't Dabo.
Yeah, but I think one of those quarterbacks should be Trevor Lawrence. You're the number 1 overall pick. I give you a mulligan with Urban Meyer. Mulligan.
A pass.
He was terrible. He was terrible as a head coach.
No, he was horrible.
So
no,
terrible,
horrible.
No, terrible, horrible, hell of a bad. It's all the same at the end of the day.
He was shit stains.
So yeah, we won't go too explicit about it, but yeah,
it's my pod. I can curse. I mean,
it's your show, so yeah. I won't go too in depth. I'm trying to keep it clean here, but
oh gosh,
let's just be very, very honest. I give you a mulligan on that one. But when Doug Peterson was the coach, you had a chance in order to get a number 1 seed. And you had that huge collapse year before last. You were 8-3. You were tied with the Baltimore Ravens to have the number 1 seed in the AFC. And you won 1 game down the stretch. And you let CJ Stroud, as a rookie, come in and steal the division from you. Matter of fact, leading up until this year, CJ Stroud was considered the best quarterback in that division. And you're the number 1 overall pick. You're on your 3rd head coach. This is the greatest opportunity that you have to write your redemption story. And you may be comeback player of the year this year. So you have a chance to finally write a lot of things. And people can talk about, well, he won a playoff game. Was it really him winning that playoff game, or was it Brandon Staley losing that playoff game? That's just a question you must ask yourself at this point. Because if you really look at it, inexcusable to how that Los Angeles Chargers team performed. And I blame Brandon Staley for a lot of that. Surprised he's still in the league, by the way. But you have a lot of pressure on you. Number 1 overall pick. That's burdened with expectation as it is. If you're no less than at least a 3 to 4 time Pro Bowler, bust. Or it's considered mediocre. So, number 1 overall pick on your 3rd head coach, you got a monster contract. The 9-figure contract. You're being paid the $250 million. You're being paid like that. Thus far, you haven't played like that. So Trevor Lawrence has to be on that list. Are you going to prove that people are not falling in love with the fact that you look like the prototype? The tall, mobile quarterback with the monster arm that can throw a country mile, that's mobile, that can move in the pocket, that was a national championship, that was the darling of the media coming out of Cartersville down here in Georgia. Are you going to prove that you are what we think you are? You're the number 1 overall pick. coming out of Clemson. Right behind one of the best quarterbacks in their school's history, Deshaun Watson. Say what you will about Deshaun Watson. Why now? But back then at Clemson and in Houston, fire. So let's just keep it all the way a buck. That pressure has to be, and you're playing at home. You finally got a head coach. You have a good defense. You have good receivers. You have good running backs. You have everything served to you on a platter. Can you at least get to the divisional round or even an AFC championship? That's the ceiling right there. AFC championship. The pressure got to be on. Because if it ain't, look, as number one overall pick, you are entrusted with a franchise. Number one pick. You're entrusted with the franchise. Thus far, you have not delivered the goods. One Pro Bowl. One. And a collapsed season. And a very, very forgettable few years. And mind you, the division, the NFC, the AFC South, leading up to this year was not that good. It's not like you had the old school NFC South where you had, which me and BRF talked about a couple of days ago in McNabb versus McNair. You don't have that old school AFC South where you had Brunell, you had Peyton Manning and Steve McNair. No, you didn't have those obstacles to overcome. You came into this division knowing that you was going to own it for at least a few years. Somebody came in year two and took it from you. So that pressure has to be on him. Another pressure, I don't think it's on the player. I think it's on the coach. I think Kyle Shanahan. No. Kyle Shanahan, no matter what he does, he's going to be scrutinized. No matter how many injuries, no matter how many players get hurt, they're going to find a way to scrutinize him because of clock management until he can prove that he can make the right play call at the right moment. He's going to be scrutinized. Another coach, to your point, Josh Allen, but Sean McDermott. If he doesn't win this year, I think he's as good as gone.
Well, not just him, also too Joe Brady, the offensive coordinator, because he's trying to look for a head coaching job, and we all know for a fact he doesn't want to coach on the college level. But the reason why I say, Champ, I disagree with you slightly on Kyle Shanahan, even though we mentioned clock management and his refusal to run the football when needed. If you lose him, who you gonna find in return? You've been advocating, hey, go fire Kyle Shanahan. See how San Francisco's gonna be. Yeah. And the thing is, Brock Purdy is healthy. So if Brock Purdy is injured, then guess what? I have Mac Jones as opposed to Josh Johnson or whoever's at QB. So I don't want to hear 49ers fans say, well, this wouldn't have happened if Brock Purdy would have been hurt. Okay, now you got Mac Jones. Kyle Shanahan has resurrected his career. I'm going to say it. I'm going to say it again in New England. For those who thought Mac Jones was a bust, Matt Patricia and Joe Judge as his offensive coordinators.
The pencil guy, Matt Patricia. But, yeah.
It's kind of like somebody burning my fucking breakfast and all I have to eat is nothing but stanky-ass oatmeal. Which I don't even like unless you put a little bit of sugar or cinnamon and then put some fruit on the side. So
at least you ain't eating cream of wheat.
No, fuck that shit. I'm not throwing that out the window. But Big Fella, I'm surprised you didn't say Herbert. But you agree Herbert is under a lot of pressure.
Herbert, but I believe Josh Allen, Justin Herbert, but Trevor Lawrence should be on that list. But
he should
be on that list because those are the top two. But Trevor Lawrence, number one overall pick, you're in the playoff. This is the best team you've been on. You don't have to deal with the big dogs at this point. You don't have to deal with Lamar Jackson. You ain't got to deal with Joe Burrow. You don't have to deal with Patrick Mahomes. You ain't got to deal with none of the big dogs in your division. You have a chance to take down a big dog at home, being Josh Allen, to prove that you belong on the big stage, to prove that you belong in the conversation of top 10 quarterbacks, to prove that you belong in that top tier of getting paid, that $275 million contract. You have a lot to prove. You
I
have a
get
right to prove because leading up to this year, we didn't even think that you was the best quarterback in your division. We still don't think that. We still think that that belongs to CJ Stroud, although he's greatly regressed.
But is it because of CJ Stroud, or is it because that the Houston Texans, how they failed to get him the offensive line? And on top of that, CJ Stroud was hurt, and how Davis Mills had to step in for the Houston Texans, and the Houston Texans had a winning record without CJ. And I
Yeah,
think people are being too unfair to CJ. CJ's still their guy. You lose CJ, where are you gonna go?
yeah.
And Houston
But
needs to find somebody to keep since they moved on from Deshaun Watson. But Champ, I understand to your point with Trevor Lawrence, but in the end, the media is still gonna give him a pass. They're gonna
yeah,
give him a pass
well,
regardless.
unrightfully so, because like I said, when you're drafted number one overall, especially as a quarterback, that is pressure within itself.
Not to
Look who's
mention the
been
hype.
drafted. Yeah. Look who's been drafted number one overall. Peyton Manning, Troy Aikman, Cam Newton, just to name a few. Look at the guys who couldn't live up to that number one overall hype. Jeff George, just to name a few. So yeah, when you're drafted number one overall and you go to, like I stated, this for the most part, you have not had to worry about a super strong division. It's literally been a two-man race past couple of years. And you let somebody come in within within their first year and take the division from you. Not once, but twice.
That's true.
So number one overall pick, $275 million without you winning more than one playoff game or even going to more than one playoff game.
And they finally got him the head coach, as you mentioned, the former offensive coordinator of the Tampa Bay
Absolutely.
Buccaneers, Cohen.
Absolutely. They finally got you a head coach. So Doug Peterson, Urban Meyer, those are things of the past. Now you have a head coach. You are in prime position in order to win. I think that they're the number 3 seed at this point. So
Yes.
you at least got at least one or two home games that you finna play.
And who knows? There may be a possibility that the
You
Chargers
played in
could
the NFC
lose
Championship.
to.
So yeah, so this is your chance matching up against a big dog, that being James Cook and Josh Allen. This is a quarterback's dream if you're playing number one overall. I have a great team. I have the home field advantage. I have the coaching. I have the running backs. I have the receivers. And I'm facing one of the big dogs. Last year's, the reigning MVP, Josh Allen. Can I beat him and can I outperform him? That should be your dream. That's why the pressure's on. Can I get Jacksonville to a place where they've never been? Tom Coughlin wasn't able to get him there. Jalen Ramsey wasn't able to get him there. Jack Del Rio wasn't able to get him there. Mark Brunell wasn't able to get him there. Byron Leftwich wasn't able to get him there. Blake Bortles wasn't
Doug
able to get him
Marrone.
there.
Doug Marrone. That was the
Doug
year in which,
Marrone.
remember the year Saxonville when they took him to the AFC Championship and then they had a 17-7 lead against New England before it fell apart. And they did that with Blake Bortles,
Yeah,
who was right up there
Mm,
in the NFL as far as with turnovers.
yeah. Like I
yes.
stated, you're trying to do something that Blake Bortles, Mark Brunell, Byron Leftwich, none of those guys were able to do.
David Garrard.
David
David
Garrard,
Garrard.
none of those guys were able to do. Get Jacksonville to a Super Bowl. And ironically, here's the thing. Y'all do realize for the Carolina Panthers and Jacksonville, y'all do realize this, right? It's the 30th anniversary of both of those teams.
Yes, it is.
Mm-hmm. I remember when those teams went into fruition. In fact, I asked the great Rod Smith just last night, how was it being on those teams, on that expansion team? It's like, because that team was just so put together. It was just out, people from everywhere. This is the 30th anniversary of Jacksonville and Carolina. On the 30th anniversary of your team being born, your team was born in 1995. Can you go out here and celebrate that anniversary of your team being born with a playoff win and maybe even a Super Bowl victory. Forever validating you. Forever validating you. Not to mention, let's bring this up. Most of the quarterbacks in your draft class, they don't even play for their teams no more. You're the only one. You're the Highlander at this point. So that pressure got to be cooking.
I still think, champ, that the only time Trevor Lawrence will get the pressure is depending how he plays in that game against Buffalo. At the end of the day, champ, they're gonna give him a pass. Do not be surprised. Do not be surprised, champ. Before I let BRF go, don't be surprised. Colin Cowherd or somebody who loves Trevor Lawrence will come to his defense and justify his performance. The only way that Trevor Lawrence could be held to the high standard, he not wishing, but he has an awful performance, and he was the primary reason why they lost that game. Because all those points you made, champ, very valid and all, you know how they're going to protect them.
Good.
Because there have been opportunities in which they could have made the playoffs, 2023 and 2024. But still, nothing. And look, this is the best coaching he's had. He has the weapons. He has and the defense. Have you looked at this defense? Do they kind of remind you in some ways of Saxonville from 2017? Because this is the best defense y'all had in a while. So my thing is, regardless of Trevor Lawrence and the things that he has, I still think that the media is going to give him a pass unless he has an egregious performance. BRF.
I have a pressure meter. I got a pressure meter for whether for players or coaches, and I have a top 3 for each. I want to start with the players. For me, it's easy. It's Josh Allen. Quarterback under the most pressure is easy for me. It's not even close. When you look at the standpoint of, I've often referred to Allen as being 1/4 of the 4 horsemen in terms of quarterbacks in the National Football League. When you look at Mahomes, you look at Allen, you look at Lamar, and you look at Joe Burrow. For me, they are the 4 horsemen. They are the best 4 quarterbacks in the National Football League. Josh Allen has this playoff road just laid out for him. You don't have to deal with Lamar. You don't have to deal with Joe Burrow. For the first time, you don't have to deal with Patrick Mahomes. It's laid out. It is laid out for you. Are there good teams in the AFC? Absolutely, there are good teams in the AFC. You got a Denver squad who's got one of the best defenses in the National Football League. You got Bo Nix, who is a fourth quarter killer. You could talk about him all he want. He's a fourth quarter killer. A good running game with the emergence of rookie RJ Harvey with his emergence. The receivers, Cortland Sutton playing well, Troy Franklin playing well, Marvin Mims playing good ball. You got a good squad up there in Denver that should not be slept on. The New England Patriots. I personally still think Matt Stafford is going to win the most valuable player, but hey, Drake May snatches that bad boy up. I ain't gonna be mad at it because he absolutely deserves that award. But New England bringing the defensive flair that they're bringing with Barmore and Christian Gonzalez, like they have talent on that side of the ball, and with the offense with Stephon Diggs. In my opinion, if Teteroa McMillan is the offensive rookie of the year choice, number 2 is Travion Henderson with what he's done within the New England backfield. So they definitely, like, New England's on the come up as far as being a good team. Say what you want about Justin Herbert, you can't sleep on the Chargers. If they show up, they can beat anybody. But at the same time, though, when you want to look at playoff experience, Josh Allen has performed in big moments, has stepped up when he needed to in big moments. So the road is laid out, not having to deal with any of the other 3 of my 4 horsemen of quarterbacks. So it's laid out for him. It's right there. If he can't get it done this year as the quarterback of the Buffalo Bills, when will he get it done? So in my opinion, he has the most pressure on him. Second, like you said, PSP, is Justin Herbert. You can't have this otherworldly, godly talent at the quarterback position and play the way you have played in 2 playoff games, or really a playoff game and a half, because that second half against Jacksonville, where y'all blew that big lead, that was some terrible quarterback play. And then that game against Houston, that was just that they practically boat raced them. That was never a game. Wasn't comfortable in the pocket, turning the ball over. Didn't start really playing well until the game was already over, basically. So Justin Herbert for me is definitely second on that list in terms of pressure cooker because you got to prove your worth. You came into the league, even though you went the number one overall draft pick, you came in with a lot of hype. And like coming out of the University of Oregon, Oregon's not necessarily known for producing the greatest quarterbacks, but you came in and you showed up and you showed out, but you haven't performed well in playoff game. This is your chance to kind of right some of those wrongs and quiet some of those doubters. And yeah, Trevor Lawrence for me is third on the playoff pressure list. And the reason why I feel like Trevor Lawrence is third on my playoff pressure list is a lot of the points that Champ made. Being a number one overall draft pick, being a guy who's so highly touted, coming out of Clemson, and just being ready to just basically being handed the keys to the kingdom, being anointed as the savior of the Jacksonville Jaguars. And outside of that one playoff game where y'all came back and defeated the LA Chargers, you really haven't done anything. So you're coming into this playoff run playing the best ball of your career. The best ball of your career. I mean, like looking like you've put it together over these past few games, like just basically walking out there and basically putting a whooping on anybody that's getting on the field with you. But you got to show this now. If you want to solidify yourself and really show the world why you were the number one overall draft pick and why you were as highly touted as you were, and you were being compared as a quarterback prospect with some of the best to play football, now is your chance. This is your opportunity to show it. You got to do it. And don't get me wrong, I'm probably going to pick the Buffalo Bills to win this game because I'm looking at playoff experience. I'm looking at Josh Allen. I'm looking at this team being there and doing that and not being scared to travel on the road in a playoff setting to do some damage against a team like the Jacksonville Jaguars. But what Jacksonville brings to the table, I mean, it's not of the Jacksonville defense as far as being able to get to the quarterback, but they have athletes on that defense. Even though the sacks aren't necessarily always there, they can get to the quarterback. And particularly Trayvon Walker, another Georgia Bulldog, has really kind of come into his own, even though Aiden Hutchinson was the big man on campus coming out as far as the defensive end. You were the number one overall draft pick When a lot of people felt like it should have been Aiden Hutchinson, it was Trayvon Walker. He's got, like whether it's him or Josh Hines Allen or just anybody on that defense, you're coming in with a squad. You are coming in with a really good squad. And now's your time to really do something with this. Otherwise, we're not really going to take you serious going forward as a potential threat to the four big guns in the AFC in terms of, the quarterback position. So those for me are like my top three players who are under the most pressure. As far as the coaches that are concerned, my number one is Kyle Shanahan. My number one is Kyle Shanahan.
I still don't.
I mean, bro, 2 Super Bowls, blowing them the way he did, not running the football, having a lead in the fourth quarter.
But BRF,
go ahead.
But we know that BRF, we know that. But still, in all, as Champ said, he often said, "Go ahead, go get rid of Kyle Shanahan. See what San Francisco's going to be without him." Look, Kyle Shanahan is what he is at this point. The coach is under the most pressure, I believe, in the NFC. Is really Matt LaFleur. Because you mentioned,
I highly disagree with that, but I'll let you speak. I want to hear your reasoning as to why.
Because like you said, there's a possibility if he loses to Chicago, and if he loses again, is there not a possibility that he could leave Green Bay? Because there were reports about him and Jordan Love with their frustrations, them seeing eye to eye. And Atlanta would love to have someone like him as a head coach. After all, he has connections with the city of Atlanta. And unless you tell me you get a John Harbaugh as a head coach, you mean to tell me you and my Matt LaFleur, when all he really needs to do is prioritize the offense, and you still have Jeff Aldridge there running the defense. And when I look at Kyle Shanahan, I think it's fair to say this is as far as he can go. And considering the amount of injuries that San Francisco has had throughout this season, I didn't expect San Francisco to be this, even with all the injuries. And you look at the Seattle game in which they blew, and I wanted San Francisco to win that game to further validate Kyle Shanahan winning Coach of the Year. That's not going to happen. It's either going to be either Mike Vrabel or it's going to be Mike McDonald. Yes, I understand Kyle Shanahan, the clock is running up. But mark my words, if he's out the door, some team's going to desperately want to have him as the head coach, especially with how the way he calls plays on offense. And regardless of what happens with Brock Purdy, because I still have to hear from 49ers fans, well, imagine if we would have had Brock Purdy in that NFC Championship game against Philadelphia. We would have had a different outcome. We would have had a better chance of winning. Okay, if Brock Purdy, not wishing injury upon Brock Purdy, but if he gets hurt, okay, you have Mac Jones. He understands your offense. He understands this is the type of guy who, by the way, you wanted. It was also reported that Kyle Shanahan, he wanted Mac Jones in the draft. But for whatever reason, John Lynch and the organization decided to go with Trey Lance. How's that turned out for Trey Lance? No disrespect.
However, okay, I hear your points about Matt LaFleur, and I completely feel where you're coming from. Here's the thing, though. I'm not necessarily looking at your job security in this situation. I'm looking at your legacy. I'm looking at your career. And this is why I still feel Kyle Shanahan is under the most pressure. I'm looking at legacy. I'm looking at how he's done in big moments time and time and time again, and not being able, you have your foot on the throat, but you don't bear down, and you've ultimately costed yourself playoff wins and Super Bowls. And here's the thing I'm going to let some people in on. If the San Francisco 49ers feel like they've hit their ceiling with Kyle Shanahan and he don't get it done, don't rule it out. Do not rule out him getting a boot. If they feel like they've hit their ceiling with him, do not rule it out. Because we have seen crazier things happen before. Yeah, you may have a really, really good coach. But if a team feels like they've hit their ceiling with him, they will go. So do not rule out, if Kyle Shanahan does not make a run, that the San Francisco 49ers front office feel like they've hit their ceiling with him and they go in a younger direction or they go in a different direction. I'm just saying, I'm putting it out there. I still feel like Kyle Shanahan is under the most pressure. It's because of legacy and what he's done and how he can right a lot of those wrongs with a big time playoff run and a possible if he wins a Super Bowl championship this year, the past is gone. That's why I feel like he's under the most pressure. Because if he does it again, that stench is lingering on him no matter where he goes. That's why I think Kyle Shanahan is under the most pressure. Sean McDermott is definitely behind him from a standpoint of the job security situation. But I mean, there's a little legacy with him too, and him wanting to create his own image and, wanting to fix his own image and create a legacy of his own. And this is really the same thing as Josh Allen. The road is laid out for you to do it this year. You do have good teams that are on the come up that you're gonna have to deal with. You're a 6 seed going up against the 3 seed Jacksonville Jaguars in Jacksonville. That is not a game. That is not a game you can't win. You can go to Jacksonville and you can beat that Jaguar squad. He's got to, at the very least, win the AFC Championship this year. He's got to. Because it's laid out there for him. You have experience on your side. You've been there, done that. You got to win the AFC Championship this year. It's laid out for you. If you don't, yeah, you probably going. But it's laid out for him, and he's got to do it. My third, and not a lot of people are talking about this, and I'll be more than happy to bring it up because he made the playoffs last Sunday. I'm talking about one Mike Tomlin. He should be under a lot of pressure as well because you might be coaching for your job too. and you got a legacy that you're trying to protect. Yet, granted, you have a Super Bowl championship, but you're kind of in that John Harbaugh mode from a standpoint of you won it early in your career and you haven't done anything since. And as a matter of fact, you have not won a playoff game since the divisional round in 2017. Well, the 2016 season, 2017 postseason.
The year when they
where
went
you
to the
won it-
AFC Championship game and then lost to New England.
lost to
That
the
was
New
the year.
England Patriots. Lost to the New England Patriots in the AFC Championship game. It's always you make it to the playoffs, you're one and done. You're one and done. And you didn't even go 9-8 this year. You actually went 10-7. You got double-digit wins this year. But I feel like Mike Tomlin is under a heap of pressure because if he just goes out and just one and does it again and gets ripped to shreds, I think he's gone too. I think he's gone. If he can't at least win one playoff game, I think he's gone because Steeler fans, honestly, I feel like some Steeler fans are clamoring for him to get fired. And I feel like this is his chance to like kind of really shut some of that up. But he's got to at least do something this postseason. He's got to at least win a postseason game because he's under a lot of pressure to win a playoff game. Because if he don't, I think he gets fired just as quick as John Harbaugh did. So he's got to do something as far as like kind of saving his legacy and saving his career with the Pittsburgh Steelers because we know how good a coach he's been, but he kind of has that little bit of an overrated kind of feel to him because I mean his playoff career ain't been that great. So I feel like not a lot of people are talking about Mike Tomlin as far as like being under pressure, but I absolutely feel like Mike Tomlin should be under pressure because I really feel like he's coaching for his job this postseason. So those are just three names from coaches and players that we should be talking about as far as like kind of under a microscope and kind of under the hot seat in terms of legacy, job security and all that.
I understand Kyle Shanahan's standpoint as far as legacy, but from the job standpoint, I don't believe he's leaving anytime soon. That's not going to happen. Mike Tomlin has a better chance because, again, what's the point of having all these winning records and still you haven't won a playoff game in almost a decade? And we've seen you work with less tier quarterbacks, and Aaron Rodgers at this point is going to be out the door. He even said on Pat McAfee, like, what, this is what, my last year? Although Aaron Rodgers wouldn't contemplate staying for another year or so, he still wants to play, still wants something to prove, perhaps win another championship. But at the same time, Aaron, I see life after football for him. And as with Mike Tomlin out the door, okay, cool. Maybe, Tennessee would take a chance on him, but I don't see Kyle Shanahan being under the most pressure. I wouldn't be surprised if he beats Philadelphia. How about Nick Sirianni? Although he's been there and he's won a Super Bowl, but for the offense, for the most part this season, hasn't been what it was last year. And their frustrations with A.J. Brown. And Champ and I, we agreed A.J. Brown should be traded. Champ, you even argued, hey, the Kansas City Chiefs should probably take a shot at A.J. Brown. Matter of fact, they may actually should try to look at that given the fact that Rashee Rice is under investigation for DV accusations.
Yeah, he like NWA at this point. He always into something.
He's life. Can't get right. The movie
I
Life.
I don't think honestly, with Nick Sirianni's situation, he's got a scapegoat. If
Kevin
they don't play
Patullo?
well, Kevin Patullo, he's got a scapegoat. So I'm not worried about Nick Sirianni because if they don't play well, they're gonna, he's got a scapegoat. He's safe.
But how much does he get? But he'll probably.
He'll get some of the blame, but he just won't lose his job. He can just kick Kevin Patullo and get another OC and get someone that's a little more creative in his play calling.
Yeah, but he's gonna get blamed after all because why do you think Patullo's the OC? Is it not because of their relationship? Hey, nepotism. No surprise. This happened before. But the thing is, and of course, he's won a Super Bowl recently. so he's not going to be out the door. But there should be more pressure on him because the Eagles, they should really win this one. Would any of us be shocked if the Eagles lose against the 49ers, even though Philly is a 5.5-point favorite?
Would we be shocked if Philly lost?
I wouldn't, because if you look at Philadelphia,
San Francisco's a good squad. Honestly, I wouldn't be as shocked because San Francisco's a good squad.
And if you look at the Eagles' offense this season, it's been hit and miss.
Yeah, sometimes it will shoot a couple of blanks. So,
Look, hey. I hear you with your points on Kyle Shanahan, but if you want to make an argument for Sean McDermott, yes, as well too. And to your point, big fella, I can't believe I didn't mention this point. What have you been often saying with the Buffalo Bills?
Let James Cook. He led the league in rushing this year, people. Led the league in touchdowns last year. Let him cook. Stop trying to let Josh Allen be the damn hero. Look, can I say this one thing?
Go ahead.
Buffalo, this is the champ here. We are not going to think any less of Josh Allen if he rides James Cook to a Super Bowl. We didn't think any less of John Elway, and we're not going to think anything less of Josh Allen if he lets James Cook run him to a Super Bowl. We didn't think that of John Elway. We didn't think that of Troy Aikman. And we sure as hell didn't think that about Jalen Hurts. We're not going to think any less of him. A Super Bowl is a Super Bowl. Especially when you've been doing carry jobs for your team for years. Like I stated, Josh Allen is the John Elway of this generation. Carry job after carry job. You saw what happened when he had a true number one receiver. They went straight to an AFC championship. The only thing that's been standing in his way was the guy, Kermit, Patrick Mahomes. So, with that being said, let James cook. Let him cook the ribs. Let him cook the sides. Hell, let them put the Hawaiian bread in the oven. Let it bake a little bit before you eat it. We're not going to think any less of Josh Allen if you do not allow him to be the hero. We're going to think the same thing. He got him a Super Bowl.
And when I brought up James Cook and not running the football with him, isn't that a detriment, an indictment on the part of Sean McDermott? That is, especially when you're not running the football with him. And especially when you're not heavily relying on Josh Allen. But I do think Matt LaFleur should get more blame, more criticism. Because imagine if you lose to Chicago again. You lose to Chicago twice.
I'm telling y'all right now. And there's a future scenario right here. If the Green Bay Packers lose to the Chicago Bears in the playoffs and Matt LaFleur gets fired, there is an absolute realistic possibility you bring the 2016 band back together in Atlanta. Matt Ryan's your president of football. Matt LaFleur is your head coach. Mike McDaniels are OC. There's a very realistic possibility.
And with that right there, we could possibly see the 2016 team all over again. It has the potential and even better. Well, at the wide receiver position, it doesn't because ain't no Julio Jones out there. But Drake London's good, but he ain't no Julio Jones. But
that running game we got now, though. I'm sorry, I love Devontae Freeman and Tevin Coleman, but Bijan Robinson against that 2016 running game, boy, it ain't this. Mismatch.
Well, hold on, Georgia brothers. Let's pump the brakes on that because I don't want y'all to get all hyped up because I know y'all have aspirations and expectations, and rightfully so. But at the same time, I don't want you to get your heart broken. It's kind of like
man. No, it's Atlanta.
But how much pain can can you take? Chip, are you
It's
going to?
been there. We've
I
lost
know,
two
but
Super
at the
Bowls.
same, I know,
We've
but at the
lost Brett
I know,
Favre.
I know,
We've
You
I
lost
highly
know, I
underestimate our
know
pain
all
tolerance,
these
sir.
things. I know
You highly
all these
underestimate.
things.
I'm
With
just saying, you
that
highly
being
underestimate
said,
our pain tolerance.
no, I'm not. Are you serious? You're talking to a Washington Commanders dude who's dealt with purgatory and embarrassment and laugh and turmoil. All I'm saying is, how much more can one person stomach? Look how much shit I have to deal with as a fucking Washington Commanders fan.
At the very
Only reason why I don't get as much criticism or heat. I'll say this and I'll keep on saying this to the day I'll die. Why is it that you're a Commanders fan? The late great Sean Taylor. If it were not for some people like him and for the organization, you know how much of a shitty organization I've had to deal with Dan Snyder running the show. You know I've had to deal with all the off the field issues, all the turmoil, the Albert Hainsworth deal. Come on, Adam Archuleta with safety when we already had Ryan Clark, all the quarterback controversies, all the other issues with Washington. Daniel Snyder is just as bad as an owner as James Dolan. He was the NFL's version of James Dolan. BRF and Chip, I am not trying to ignore your pain as Atlanta fans. But don't you get tired of seeing your pain? Enough pain. It's kind of, Champ, you said it yourself. Don't you get tired of your sneaky link cheating on you all the time? Don't you like, man, fuck this. Fuck this. I'm leaving this woman. You're not going to appreciate me. If you're not going to love me for me, then fuck it. I might as well leave because I don't deserve this. I deserve better. I may not be the prince. I may not be all the things for you, but you damn sure better give me my respect. You better put some respect on my motherfucking name.
You are missing as great as the point that you just made. There is one
Wait
point.
a minute, BRL.
There's
let me try. Let me
go. No, I'm just saying.
In a nutshell,
go for it. Go for it.
In a nutshell, the 90s alone. This is the 90s alone. Dion goes to the 49ers, division rival during the time. Before that, we trade Brett Favre for a first-round pick. The pick doesn't work out. We have a revolving door at quarterback until Michael Vick. And then, but Brett Favre goes on to have an over 20, damn near 20-year career.
Yeah, but he had to leave because what was the nickname? He was in Atlanta.
Yeah, but
Buckhead Brett.
But the thing was, there was a side to that. The thing is, the coaching there. Jerry Glanville was not that good of a coach as a quarterback developer. Yes, so that's the reason why he was. That's the reason why he was in Bankhead. Hell, if you're not gonna win on the field, you got to win off the field. So there's not a lot of guys.
And which is why he went to Green Bay. And who held his ass more accountable? Mike Holmgren.
And but the thing is, Jerry Glanville did not have faith in Brett Favre. Even coming in, he didn't even call him by his name. He called him Mississippi. Remember that, BRF?
Yeah.
He called him Mississippi. So, he came into an organization that didn't have faith in him. Not to mention, leading up to Julio Jones, we lost one of the best receivers in the league in Bad Moon Rising in the middle of the 90s. Where does he go to and win a Super Bowl? Oh, damn. The very quarterback that we traded. He goes to Green Bay and win a Super Bowl. Go to 1998. Get blown out in the Super Bowl. Very next year, Jamal Anderson gets hurt. Finally set ourselves up in order to get Michael Vick. Oh, shit. Years later, Mike Vick in trouble.
And who was the head coach at that particular time?
And then,
Remember when you had Bobby Petrino?
Yeah, that's what I was getting to. Bobby Petrino, the Mike Vick saga. Two of the worst years probably in franchise history. Then get set up in order to get set up again. Finally got a franchise quarterback that we have for over 15 years. Look at what happened. Unappreciated by the fans. Booed by the fans. Ostracized by the fans. 28-3. He's on his way out. Kyle Shanahan leaves. Dan Quinn is fired. Can't get the draft right. Drafted defensive ends who play like crap when you knew they shouldn't be drafted in the first place. There's a lot of pain. Not to mention, that's just the modern day. Remember the Steve Bartkowski game. You know, that's just what we experienced lately. The Steve Barkowski game, having the greatest defense in the league in league history, only giving up 9.2 points a game, but having no playoff appearance to show for it. Yeah, it's a lot of pain. We're the Cleveland Browns of the South.
And
go ahead,
you got to let me get it. And you got to let me get this out. At the very least, the one point that you are entirely missing, the Atlanta Falcons, and not a lot of people talk about this. Well, I'm going to bring it up. We are the longest, oldest existing franchise with no world championship attached to it. Longest existing franchise with no world title. At the very least, with your Washington franchise, y'all got trophies. Whether you were alive to see them,
but I wasn't alive to see them, and unfortunately,
y'all got chips.
I got chips, and yes, I understand that, BRF. But here's the thing: at least you've had something to look forward to in your time. Although you haven't captured a championship like my franchise, at least you don't have to deal with the embarrassment, the humiliation, both on and certainly off the field under the Snyder ownership I had to deal with.
We had to deal with Rankin Smith.
I had to deal with all the sexual misconduct accusations that Daniel Snyder and the organization had to deal with. Then, of course, the name of the team, to which even Chip and I go use that term in a Native American reservation. See where that'll go. See where that'll get you. The Albert Hainsworth deal, paying him $100 million, who later became the joke. Then on top of that, all these other things with this organization, the FedEx Field, how shitty of a field it is. And you talk about the nation's capital. Now we're finally moving it back to DC. So if anyone could understand pain, don't act as if a Commanders fan hasn't gone through pain itself. At least, I mean, look, as an organization, we right up there as an organization as far as Cleveland, Detroit, pivotal organizations or franchises. I understand the fact that y'all haven't captured a championship and all the reasons y'all said, but don't act as if I haven't been through pain as a Commanders fan, as an NFL fan in general.
At the very least, though, you have a generation in front of you that can at least talk about times where you won championships. We don't even have that.
Eventually you will, as long as the organization gets their act together and hires the right type of people. Meanwhile, where's Washington? Did I not? No, Champ, I gotta hold your big ass feet to the fire.
What?
I tried to tell you. You tried to tell me, oh, we're gonna get somebody. We're gonna move on from Chase Young and Montez Sweat. Chase Young has had a bounce back year. Now, I had no problem moving on from Chase Young because of the durability issues. But I tried to tell you about Montez Sweat, huh?
Yeah,
I tried. And have we still not addressed the pass rusher? You keep telling me more than anybody else, the quarterback cannot throw on his back. Well, brother, that's the definition of a pass rusher. To get after the quarterback, to make sure the quarterback is on his back. Because guess what? If I'm a quarterback and if I have no pass rush and if my offensive line is giving me enough time in the pocket, clean as a whistle, clean like just getting a nice clean t-shirt straight from the dryer clean. If it is as clean as a pocket, they're going to eat them boys up. We still have not addressed the pass rush situation. We have the quarterback in Jaden Daniels, even though I told you before, Champ, I wanted Drake May. I still have issues or concerns. And the worst part about it, it's with the new organization. So what's the excuse? Dan Snyder's no longer there. He's chilling. He's collecting his billions of dollars. Meanwhile, for us, I thought for Washington, this was a start in the right direction. Now, I expected nowhere to go but down after the NFC Championship appearance, but not 4-13. I get it. Atlanta hasn't won a Super Bowl. And Atlanta, they've been cursed historically. Not just the Falcons, but also the Georgia Bulldogs. First time since what, 1980? When y'all won a
1980.
championship until
Yep.
back to back. The
Yep.
Atlanta Hawks, I don't know when's the last time they've won a championship.
They were in St. Louis.
No, what I was
So
about to say.
there you
Bob
go.
Pettit is our greatest player. He never played in Atlanta.
There you go. The Atlanta Braves until they started to get better and more relevant. But historically,
I've seen 2 championships with the Braves. I can't complain. I've seen 2 championships with my eyes.
at least you
And
I'm
at
happy.
least
I'm
you,
happy with the Braves.
at least you got that. But when you talk about pain and misery, trust me, Washington fans have to deal with that under the Snyder ownership for so long. So trust me, I know. At
But
least
I'm
you
gonna
could
tell
sit
you.
you could sit there and say, "Hey, I have championships." But at the
But
same
let
time, all I said, BRF and Chip, don't put too much expectations. Don't hype yourself up too much
oh
because I don't want y'all to be disappointed. I don't want y'all to be sad.
bro,
I don't want y'all to be
I'm
going.
brother. I'm so numb and I'm so used to stuff not happening. It don't really bother me like that no more. It really don't. And I'm gonna say this before we move on. Yes, the Atlanta Braves have won 2 championships, and it did set that city ablaze. I'm telling you, if the Atlanta Falcons win a Super Bowl, they're going to completely shut that entire city down.
The
No
state town.
celebration no celebration the Atlanta Braves have will even come close to if the Atlanta Falcons win a Super Bowl. It'll be a whole new level of hype and celebration if the Atlanta Falcons bring a Lombardi trophy to this state. It ain't. I'm telling you, I'm telling you, how Meek Mill said, "There's levels to this, bro." I'm telling you, it is not gonna be the same. It is not gonna be the same type of celebration.
Hell, they shut the city down when the soccer team won the championship. What makes you think, man? They shut the city down, and that trophy made it to the Waffle House when the
But like,
soccer
I don't,
team
I don't,
won.
I don't know if it's gonna be Philadelphia levels of celebrations, but if the Falcons win a championship,
Oh
no,
man, look,
no.
it's gonna be the Atlanta. It's gonna be Atlanta style. Everybody going to Magic City. Everybody going to Bobby.
ooh,
Everybody going to Strokers. Everybody go. Boy, them
boy,
folks gonna be cool.
they gonna feel like it's 93 Freaknik again.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, BRF. Even though you could say we have championships, I want to see it as a fan. I want to see
I
it
feel you.
myself. I
I
want
feel
to
you.
see the parade. I want Chocolate City to be entertained and stuff. Kind of like with you and BRF. You know, Champ's ass is probably gonna go to Magic City, hit a couple of them wags, and probably pay their bills. That's what Champ would probably do on the meantime, and then go to Magic City.
I ain't paying nobody bill.
Not even them
Brother.
wags.
No.
Brother. And if I see a Falcons championship, if I'm at the house and that zero run off and we in the Super Bowl and we win that bad boy, I'm telling you, my big butt is literally getting up. I am running out the house. I am running down my entire street. I am losing my ever loved mind if I ever see that happening. I'm telling you, you will never see a bigger, darker blur in your life as me running down my street celebrating a championship. I'm telling you.
I've seen crazy things before. I've seen people run outside the house naked. So
I ain't doing that.
What the hell going on in Miami, bro?
What the hell going on in Miami, bro?
But let's move on. Let's keep it real short with these NFL playoff picks. You got the Rams versus the Panthers, the rematch of these two teams. Now remember, Carolina beat them early in the regular season. The Rams are a 10.5-point favorite.
That's too high. That's too much.
That's too high. And
That's way too much. Carolina's one of like I said this before. Carolina's one of them teams that'll lull you to sleep. When you think you got them, they reel you in. With that being said, everybody's 0-0 again. I think the Rams come in with more focus. I got the Rams beating the Panthers.
Champ,
Bad. The Rams.
Rams it is. Bills and Jaguars. Buffalo is a 1.5-point favorite. I got Jaguars.
Let James Cook give him that ball 30 times. I guarantee you'll win.
In games like this, I always go with the ones who's been there, and I got Buffalo. I feel I trust Josh Allen more in a situation like this. Even though they're on the road, I'm picking the Buffalo Bills.
I got Jacksonville winning this one because I think their defense is going to actually surprise them. And if they take away James Cook, which I don't believe that'll happen, imagine how that's going to be for Josh Allen. And for Trevor Lawrence, even though Champ, he's under a lot of pressure, as you and BRF put it, but as you always say with Jalen Hurts, don't be pretty, be good. Next one, 49ers at Eagles. Philly is a 5.5-point favorite. I think that's a little too high in my opinion, but I'm going to go Philly 20, San Fran 13.
Y'all might get me on this one
Wop, wop,
because
wop, bang, bang.
You got the Niners?
Yes, San Francisco, baby. I'm going with San Francisco. Shout out to my father, by the way, San Francisco fan, man. And shout out to Sweeney as well. So, yeah, shout out to those two. So, bang, bang, Niner game.
my pick might
Don't
be
touch that
our
damn
hot take.
statue.
Yeah, I know, right? My pick might be our hot take. Our hot take on the PSP show, the PSP podcast. Mine might be the hot take of the entire playoff picking segment here because I said this on the throwdown, and people were kind of shocked that I said this. I got 34-17 Philly. I don't think the 5.5 is too high. I think Philly's going to cover it, and I think what's going to happen is it's going to be a fight for like the beginning of the game. But I ultimately feel like Philly's defense is too good, and I feel like ultimately when that offense gets rolling, they're just gonna. It's almost gonna be like body blow, body blow, body blow, uppercut. 34-17 Philly.
Okay. All right. The next game that we have here on the list, Chargers at Patriots. New England is a 3.5-point favorite. I am going to go Los Angeles for the upset. This has to no, to be fair, Chip, because again, you say just Trevor Lawrence, Justin Herbert. This is your time. This is your opportunity. I understand you've dealt with the hand injury. Patrick Mahomes is no longer there anymore. I expect you to perform and be the type of quarterback that we need, that we should anticipate you to be. Drake May, this is his first time in the playoffs. I don't expect much. I expect him to play decent or solid. But Justin Herbert, it's on you. I got Chargers 23, New England 21.
The Boston Tea Party will reign supreme once again. And the Chargers will be, and the batteries will be thrown into the sea.
PRF?
Yeah, you know what? I'm really, really enjoying the New England Patriots and how they play football right now. And I feel like particularly on defense, I think they're gonna throw LA's offense just too much out of rhythm. Like particularly like putting hands on those receivers and throwing them off of their rhythm and throwing them off routes. I think New England for me they're clicking on all cylinders too much for me right now to not to pick against them. I'm picking the Patriots.
Packers at Bears. And that game will be Saturday night on Prime.
In Chicago. I won't say the next part. Y'all know what it is, though.
Yeah, you know what? And I'm not even doing this out of like a Matt LaFleur thing or anything like that. I'm looking at how both teams are right now. Um Michael Parsons being hurt, Green Bay's lost a lot of their pass rush, and Caleb Williams has just stepped his game up immensely. Like the game slowing down for him. Give me Chicago.
Chicago. I think Caleb Williams can handle the pressure. And I think with Mungai and Swift running the football as well, and Roman Dunze, he's coming back.
And add that to the way Luther Burden's been playing as of late. Whoo, boy.
Yeah. Hey, I'm just hoping that it would be funny as hell if somebody from if Chicago goes and wins the Super Bowl, if somebody grabs that mic and say that this Chicago and just accept they just go get the biggest damn fine in NFL history and just grab the mic and just scream this Chicago and say every bit of it.
All right, last one. Texans at Steelers. Houston is a 3-point favorite.
Houston, we have a problem.
BRF?
I think Houston, out of all of the wild card teams, you have that one that can take it all the way to the Super Bowl. For me, as far as teams that didn't win the division, for me, I think it's Houston. Solely because of how good that defense is. That defense from front seven to secondary, I think might be the scariest individual unit of players coming into this postseason. CJ Stroud plays adequately to good football. The Houston Texans can be a non-divisional wildcard team to go to the Super Bowl this year. I think Houston's going to beat Pittsburgh down.
If CJ Stroud can be the quarterback he was his rookie year, people have forgotten how great CJ was early on in his career. But it's just that recently it hasn't been the same. As Champ always puts it, quarterback cannot throw on his back. And everyone thinks that CJ Stroud is a bad or a terrible quarterback. No, he's not. Now, is he performing or producing like the one he was in his rookie year? No. But I think, look, behind that O-line, there's going to be some issues. I just think if CJ Stroud can play good enough, if he plays like what he was in his rookie year, we should be having more conversations about Houston coming out the AFC. But that's a story for another day. Kia, I love you. I'm going with Houston. But if the Steelers win, I'm going to be ecstatic. You always going to have my love. So there we go with the NFL playoff picks. Now, my favorite subject on the Sports PSP podcast, babyface or heel. Now, for those who may not know what babyface heel means in wrestling language, babyface is a good guy, heel is a bad guy, tweener is someone in between. So I come up with a list of athletes or celebrities. Me and the panel will go over and determine whether babyface, heel, or tweener. Lamar Jackson, easily a babyface. Because when you look at Lamar Jackson, two-time league MVP, prior to the NFL draft, Bill Polian didn't think Lamar Jackson was going to succeed as a QB. Suggested he would be better off as a wide receiver. Second year, his progression, a substantial, winning the league MVP unanimously, the first since Tom Brady to do that in the 2010 season. Also led the NFL in touchdown passes in 36. You look at Lamar Jackson, arguably the most electric quarterback we've seen. We've seen Vic, we've seen Care, we've seen a lot of other quarterbacks, but Lamar Jackson, the way he could run the football and how he has gotten tremendously better as a passer. And then, of course, we know that he was a video game machine in college, winning the Heisman Trophy back at Louisville in 2016. Also, his agency. He doesn't have no big-time agent. I believe his mama's taking care of that. Yeah. And his mama has done his thing. and how he's able to get that 5-year, $200+ billion contract with the Baltimore Ravens. He's the type of guy, Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson's the type of guy you want to like copy or follow. I mean, coming from the hood, playing quarterback at an elite level, people liking your swag and personality. He's our modern day version of Michael Vick. And what Michael Vick would have been, Michael Vick should have been more of what Lamar Jackson. Had Mike Vick had more of the work ethic early on in his career in Atlanta, he would have been what Lamar is right now.
I
And
agree.
Lamar Jackson, if he could just win a Super Bowl for Baltimore, you talk about how excited they were when they won the Super Bowl in 2012. Can you imagine with a quarterback? And Baltimore's not known for quarterbacks that prolific like Lamar. I would love to see Lamar Jackson win a Super Bowl in Baltimore. And shout out to the girl, Sydney, Virginia, or as I call her, the Stuart Scott of wrestling journalism. Please go follow her on IG, YouTube, and TikTok. Check her out for more wrestling content. But Lamar Jackson, easily a babyface.
Babyface. This is unanimous. I think the board is unanimous on this. Unless you're really just trying to pull a stunt out of your behind just to be difficult,
Jason
gotta say he's a
Whitlock.
babyface. Yeah. Look, I'm gonna just be real. I'll say this because I took a page out of my father's book. Shout out to my father. You got to pay attention to not only to what your friends say, but to what your enemies say. But at the beginning of his career, and even now, he gives Lamar props, especially when he plays well. So that's the thing. That's probably the most unbiased I've ever seen him towards a quarterback of his caliber. But yeah, unless you are in the media trying to pull one out of your behind, and you want your quarterback to be quarterbacky, whatever the fuck that means. Excuse me, PSP. I had to say that.
Oh, trust me. When that lady said that on that internet thing, I read between them lines in about 10 seconds.
What the fuck is quarterback key mean?
That wasn't the woman BRF. That was also Colin Cowherd. Quarterback key.
No, but I remember that video. I remember that video of that woman saying that. Dude. That was the first instance I heard of that was that lady in that video. That was the first instance I heard.
Montse Bolaños from Fox Sports. I remember.
Yeah,
that was the first instance I heard that. I'm like, I read between them lines in like 10 seconds. Like,
what's so funny about that? He defied the odds. Everybody was talking about much like Warren Moon. Remember Warren Moon? They wanted him to come out and play receiver, although he led the Washington Huskies to the Rose Bowl. Had one of the greatest games in Rose Bowl history. Everybody was telling him when he came out, "Hey, you might want to change the wide receiver. You might want to change your position." Much like Warren Moon, no. And lo and behold, one of the greatest franchises in NFL history got a hold of Lamar. Ozzie Newsome. One of the greatest, the greatest general manager of all time. Jonathan Ogden, Ed Reed, Ray Lewis, Terrell Suggs, Jamal Lewis, Chris McAllister,
Todd Heap, Shannon Sharp.
No, he didn't draft Shannon Sharp.
He didn't draft Shannon Sharp.
Priest Holmes,
Ray Rice,
Lamar Jackson, Joe Flacco, a plethora of guys that he's drafted and gave him time to develop, was very patient with him.
Yeah, the great Ozzie Newsome.
And then very patient. Ozzie Newsome got his hands on him, and they was able to escalate that team quickly, transition them right out of the Flacco era and right into the Lamar Jackson era, unscathed. Yeah. Face the same adversity that a lot of black quarterbacks faced back when Warren Moon was coming out of Washington. Faced a lot of the same adversity. Mind you, this is the 2010s, mind you. And you're telling a former Heisman Trophy winner to switch his position after I just had two of the most electrifying seasons, arguably in college football history. But because I'm a running quarterback, you tell me I need to switch my position.
And not only that, Champ, don't you find it kind of ironic how they didn't tell Josh Allen to change into a different position when he and Lamar during their college time had almost around the same completion percentage?
Yes, indeed. And make it so bad, Josh Allen came from Wyoming.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't. Lamar Jackson played back when the ACC was actually worth a damn.
Right. And this is at the time when there was Clemson, there was Miami, there was a lot of other good teams at that time.
Yeah.
And then with Lamar Jackson, trust Uncle Lamar. They look at him as it's a term of endearment. And again, to your point, he's defied the odds. And plus, he doesn't have to be quarterbacky, which still Colin Cowherd, he was the one who originated the name, which to me is nothing more than absolute bullshit, but that's a story for another day. He's proven he's one of the top 4 quarterbacks in football. Jason Whitlock still has criticized him. I still don't trust Jason Whitlock. Hell, he's as real as Vanilla Ice's bio. That's all I'm going to say regarding him. I'm sorry. I have no respect for Jason Whitlock.
Let me tell you something. After Jason Whitlock, I saw a tweet and they said they were trying to blame, like they were talking about like why the quarterback play has gone down, and what Jason Whitlock tried to blame it on is like whatever shred of just
credibility,
respect I had for him as far as being a sports writer.
Did he mention something
about? I pissed it.
Did he mention something?
I pissed it right on out.
Did he mention?
Yeah. DEI and the forced idea of the black quarterback. I'm like, let me get this straight. We're not blaming evolving defenses. We're not blaming evolving athletes on the defensive side of the ball. You're blaming teams forcing black quarterbacks in action. Shut up. Just shut up. Like it's like so the only quarterbacks that have been bad have been the black ones. Stop it. Credibility it was already about all the window. Man, you throw it, just throw it completely. Like it's done. Like I will never ever take another thing he says credible ever again. Even if he's right, I'm still gonna take it with a grain of salt because it's Jason freaking Whitlock.
As Denzel Washington in the movie American Gangster said to describe people like Jason Whitlock, Simple Simon motherfuckers. I'm sorry.
No, I'm immature. You already know this already, so hearing you curse is kind of funny to me because I'm not used to hearing you go these cursing. I'm not used to hearing you curse like that.
Why do you think you try? Why do you think you want to try to go all the way to New Jersey and confiscate my computer? You said that's it, man. No more Jim Cornette for your ass.
no more Jim Cornette for you. I try to tone it down. You turn it up. So Lord. But yeah, man. Unless you just try to pull stuff out of your behind. He's a hell of a quarterback, 2-time MVP.
Plus, let's not forget the report. Remember the report about him falling asleep or in practices and stuff, and he kind of debunked that. To me, it tells me. And to me, it tells me if you're a reporter, then you should not have any opportunity to be reporting again, because if you're making false reports, then essentially what does it say about you or your character? It just seems like to me you have a vendetta against this player.
Went so bad it's a black reporter.
Exactly.
Yeah,
and that's shocking.
And that reporter actually been covering the Ravens for years. He's been covering the Ravens for years. So I mean, but when all of these little false reports are going to come out the minute some adversity comes along, man, it's going to be this happened, that's happened. It's a lot of bull jive reports that comes out the minute things just go even a shred wrong. If you want me to be honest with you, when things are good, they're good. But when they're bad, they're bad. As we say down south, boy, when it rains, it pours. So yeah,
Mhm.
it get bad quick, yo. So uh look, what's so funny about Lamar Jackson is Josh. I never forget when Colin Cowherd said it that Josh Rosen is going to be a better quarterback than he did coming into the NFL. That was the funny thing. 2 years later, after that statement was made, Josh Rosen was on the bench with my Atlanta Falcons. So
Exactly.
But that's
he
not
was on
so.
the
But that's not a surprise to me, Chip, because after all, he was the same person who said that about Baker Mayfield. No one has been a bigger critic. You cannot argue that one, Chip. No one has been a bigger critic of Baker Mayfield than one Colin Cowherd.
no, and to his credit, he stuck by his surrogate son, Sam Darnold. So you know,
It took him. It took it long enough for it to pay off, but it's finally paid
he
off because
finally
Sam
did. But
Darnold.
you know, hey,
Because yeah, exactly. When he
you
was
know,
with the New
Sam
York
Darnold,
Jets,
Sam Darnold, Sam Darnold, Sam Darnold, Sam Darnold, like a broken record.
BRF,
I'm telling.
BRF. I know we got to move on to the next one, but it's pretty obvious for you,
Yeah.
babyface, with Lamar
Oh yeah.
Jackson.
Oh yeah. I mean, like y'all pretty much hit all the points with Lamar Jackson. I mean, obviously, awesome quarterback. I think he's the most electric quarterback to ever play the game in terms of his ability to run and then his passing ability. But yet, like his community work, Baltimore's taking him in like a son. Everything he's done with the community and just like he wears his emotions on his sleeve, but he's as transparent as it gets. Like he doesn't hold back anything. He's gonna like if something's on his mind, he's gonna say it in those press conferences. Like he's him. Like in terms of just he's him. Like everything you want in terms of like your leader, face of the franchise as a quarterback. That's Lamar Jackson. He doesn't run from anything. He's great on and off the field. So I mean, like y'all there's nothing else I really need to add to that. It's definitely unanimous.
Next one, Gronk, Rob Gronkowski.
Babyface,
Mm,
babyface, man. Look, Gronk is so. Look, I love Gronk.
The
I
dances.
no, not just the dances. His behavior was so anti-Bill Belichick. It's kind of like the class clown was allowed to be the class clown
You
in
know
the
who I'm thinking of?
in
You,
the go ahead.
you. That's
Yeah.
you, champ.
It's kind of like the
Gronk.
class clown was
Bec-
allowed to be the class clown in the most strictest teacher's class. And
but
only he could get away with it because he was so good. I love Gronk, man, especially when he slammed Steve Harvey's Steve Harvey.
the Lego football.
What is wrong with you? I don't. But that was funny as hell. That Gronk, I love Gronk, man. Love Gronk, man. Anytime the happy-go-lucky guys, the class clowns, who their personality sort of eclipse their ability a little bit. Anytime they succeed, I'm happy because I see a little bit of myself inside of each and every one of them. Because guess what, man? I love to joke around. I love to play around. But when it's time to put the bootstraps on, I'm right there. And that's why I love Gronk. And like I stated, he was so anti-Bill Belichick. Him and the other tight end. Both of them were so anti-Bill Belichick, but yet Belichick wrapped his arms around both of them and loved them. Loved them.
even Brady.
Yeah. So Gronk was one hell of a time. And look, be glad that Gronk got hurt as much as he did, because otherwise we'd be talking about him as the greatest of all time, as far as
We
tight
really
ends was
would be.
concerned.
We
So,
really would be.
Talent wise, I think talent wise, is it fair for me to say he's the greatest talent at
yeah,
that
he's the greatest
position?
talent of all time.
Not the most productive, but I think 6'6", 260, 270, 4.5 ish speed, can block, can make any type of catch. Had it not been for injuries, he would have probably had all them tight end records.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And look, like I said, so anti-Bill Belichick, man.
And then he
Bill,
goes to Tampa Bay and then also wins another Super Bowl there. But
yeah,
Gronk, his personality, the way he chugs beers,
yeah. Chug,
the
shot,
da- the
no,
da-
those are not chugging beers. Those are shot. We call
no,
them shotgunning beers. Those are you shotgunning.
that's what
So
they say in the South.
yeah, you shotgun
You
beers. So
shot
you
the sh-
shotgunning beers. So yeah, man,
them
love
dance
Gronk
moves.
and that. Yeah.
For a
Hey,
big
but
guy,
look,
he can move though.
DDT and guys on the stage, guys like that, going to the Royal Rumble, being at WrestleMania, doing stuff like Gronk is that guy, man. He's the cool guy. He's the cool, goofy guy that you love to be around. He's the equivalent of Shaq in the NBA, man. Big ass guy, can run his behind off, can joke with the best of them, but he's just proven it. He's just that damn good, man. I love Gronk, man. Gronk was that dude, man. I mean, like I said, he was the NFL version of Shaq. Happy go lucky, joke, class clown on the strictest team. Like I said, remember how Shaq was, remember how Phil Jackson allowed Shaq and Dennis Rodman to be kind of have their own rules. That was Gronk with Bill Belichick.
And that's the greatness of that. That's the greatness about coaching as well, too, because Belichick and then they knew certain players with certain personalities. How do you coach them? How do they compartmentalize?
Yeah.
And with Gronk, Gronk is so relatable because you wish you can work hard but also have a good time, though.
Yeah.
Sometimes, as much as I love working hard and I love working hard, at the same time, you also want to have a good time. You also want to have time to like hang out, be with the friends, and have a crack a joke or two. So Gronk, the thing is, kind of like with Champ. The reason why Champ would easily call him a babyface is because just like yourself, Champ, he doesn't take himself too seriously.
No. I always say this. I admire the guys who work hard and are serious because I can never be that. I cannot be too serious. Even when I get my doctorate degree, I'm not gonna ever force people to call me doctor. I might even, just as a joke, I might change my name to Alucard just to piss people off. Can you imagine me, Doctor Alucard? People don't even get the joke behind that.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't get the joke, BRL.
Honestly, I'm
Alucard. Spell it backwards.
Alucard.
Alucard. Spell it backwards. So that's what I always said. I would change my name. if I ever became a doctor, got my doctorate degree, I'd change my name to Alucard. So he gets it now. But
Alucard.
He's like
I don't even know what that means. I'm sorry. I just don't.
Dracula. Spelled
Dracula. It's Dracula.
Yeah, Castlevania.
Oh, okay. I forgot. You gotta read the back.
Oh yeah, my bad. We're older than you are, so yeah, Alucard. So yeah.
Shit, you say a lot of things on the air that I don't even know. That's why I brought you on the show for a reason. You know your shit.
Alucard. Yeah, Castlevania. Yeah, his name was Alucard. It spells Dracula backwards. But as I always said, if I ever got my doctorate degree, I said I'll change my name to Alucard. But yeah, man, you gotta love those guys. But like I said, I admire the serious guys, man. Like yourself, like Kobe, because I could never be that. But I'm more relatable to the fun-loving guys, man. It's always good to have a good time while you're winning, man. It's a double-edged sword when you're losing, but when you're winning and you having a good time and you are just the talk of the town and you are winning and you know your stuff, it's a different type of feeling, and it's so cool to see how people gravitate around you, especially you're a big guy. It's so cool to see how people gravitate around you and rally around you because they're not afraid and they know that you're a safe place. So, man, Gronk is an undisputed babyface, man. Look, I call him the Shaq of the NFL, bro.
BRF.
Yeah, Gronk. Yeah, Gronk is definitely a babyface. He's definitely a babyface. I mean, come on, man. The talents on the field speaks for himself. I mean, he's arguably the greatest tight end to ever play the game. I mean, it speaks for himself. But yeah, like just the happy-go-lucky nature that he lived with and played with, for that matter. Just always going out having fun. And we got to remember, when he was at the University of Arizona, the injury problem started then. Like his draft stock fell because of his injuries in college. Yeah, like this is like the trajectory Rob Gronkowski was on. Can you imagine like 5 to 6 more years, peak Gronk? He's the undisputed greatest tight end ever. And yet, with the years we got, he's still arguably the greatest tight end ever. I personally think that's still Tony Gonzalez, but Gronk is like right there, like as far as like just sheer production and dominance. Like I think he's definitely the most gifted tight end ever played a position. His size, his route running, his hands, his ability to block, his IQ, just everything he was able to do. But yeah, just him doing a banger job now on Fox NFL Sunday with the crew. Yeah, like the WrestleMania, what was it, WrestleMania 33 in Orlando, where he comes in, I believe, during the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. It was one of them, and just lays out Jinder Mahal's like one of the funniest things I've ever seen. It's one of the funniest things I've ever seen. Him and Mojo Rawley just they would, bro. Those two were just two peas in the pod during that segment. That's definitely one of the funniest segments I'd seen WWE put on in a while. But yeah, man, just there's nothing really about Gronk that you can like pick and be like, yeah, I don't like this. He's doing the USAA commercials. Just everything about him just screams fun, and you got to know what kind of teammate he was to play with. You can only imagine he was probably one of the greatest teammates anybody could have had. So I mean, shout out to Gronk. Yeah, Gronk is most definitely a babyface.
Easily. He's just fun to be around. Last one. I got a good one. I got to go first on this one.
Uh-oh.
Ocho Cinco. Baby face. Let me tell you why. First of all, if you're an athlete, or well, not an athlete, or any other person, you would love to eat McDonald's all day and still perform at an elite level. That's what
Yeah,
he would still do. Eat McDonald's. Now, for me, I can't eat fast food the way I used to. The only thing, if I'm guilty of two things, margaritas and Angry Orchards. But hell, you do. It's so jealous though that Chad Johnson could perform at elite level and still eat McDonald's. He, DK Metcalf, and Tyreek Hill got some of the worst diets for athletes because most athletes, professional athletes, either high protein meals, fruits, vegetables, grilled chicken, fish, McDonald's. And he still does it and he still eats McDonald's to this day. You can't think of a bigger advocate for McDonald's than probably him from an athlete standpoint.
Yep.
I love the chemistry him and Shannon Sharp have on Nightcap, especially with Miss Nasty B or Miss B Nasty, but that's a story for another day. I mean, hey, I mean, she's a beautiful woman. She's a beautiful woman. No one can argue or deny that. The, because and the thing I love about Champ and Ocho, the thing I love about Shannon Sharp and Ocho is kind of like our relationships. How we talk about a lot of other things, how they particularly talk about women and their things. So I kind of love hearing that perspective, not just with sports, but just in life in general. And the other great unique thing about Ocho, hey, athletes, in all seriousness, he saved up a ton of money. His net worth is at 15 million. We've heard so many athletes that filed for bankruptcy. Mike Tyson, Cheryl Swoops, Michael Vick.
Cheryl Swoops one, bro?
She filed for bankruptcy.
she
You can
filed
look
for
it up on
bankruptcy.
Google.
Wow.
Yeah, you didn't know that. I'm surprised you didn't know that.
No, I didn't
Yeah,
know that. I wore Cheryl Swoops' shoes.
Yeah,
she was one of the ones that shocked me when I found that out. But yeah, she filed.
yeah, she filed for bankruptcy. Her, Mike Tyson, um, Terrell Owens, Michael Vick. Remember, Michael Vick filed for bankruptcy.
Hmm.
Chad Johnson, he unapologetic about being cheap.
Yeah, he bought
He
all
Hmm.
his
is
jewelry at
he
Claire's.
Yeah, I mean, he's the epitome of cubic zirconia. I mean, he ain't gonna buy that fancy stuff. He's gonna buy some regular clothes. He's still gonna look good. He's still gonna look his part. But hey, he's gonna find a way to save his money. Remember on Club Shay Shay, he talked about how he stayed at the Bengals facilities. Everything's set there for him. Video games, bedroom, everything, food, everything that an athlete could ask for is there for him.
Stayed there so he didn't have to rent an apartment.
Yeah, they
Hello.
stayed there till you kicked him out the building.
But smart on his part, and still to this day saving money. So we've hear a lot of athletes that have money and spending on cars, houses, jewelries, and stuff like that. Ocho doesn't have to live that big, and Ocho's got flair and personality. So from an athlete, take it from an athlete standpoint, who's come from impoverished backgrounds, Ocho's a perfect example to look at. Now, people may say, "Why you gotta be so cheap? Why you gotta be so cheap?" I
You'd be the same
finally
people criticizing me if I was broke.
exactly.
Exactly.
It's Ocho's money. Let him decide what he wants to do. And if a unique way, he finds a way to save money. Another person that I kind of looked at, Chad, remember the story Triple H told about Mick Foley?
Yo.
He took the damn popcorn out the arena and ate popcorn. What? I'm not eating that nasty ass popcorn. That old stale, salty ass popcorn. Nobody want that shit.
But for him, he found a way to save money. You all right, BRF?
No, I'm watching the Miami game and Malachi Tony just ripped Ole Miss apart.
Oh. But Ocho, when it comes to saving money, financial reasons, hey, he's a dude for you, especially from an athlete. But babyface, colorful, funny. He's the little version of not taking yourself too seriously. I mean, Champ, I guarantee he would probably, if he were like Ocho, he would do the same thing. I mean, eat McDonald's or eat fast food, train like crazy. Then
Yeah.
on top of that, get the type of woman, and you don't have to spend that much just to save some money. And his net worth is at 15 million.
Yeah.
Can't
And
be
that's
mad
just
at it.
what they show you. Really, I always tell people this: the net worth, that's what the income that they know of. They base that off
Mhm.
of your salaries and stuff like that. They don't know
So
what
in
you
other
make.
words, it's more.
There's probably more. So, they say Jay-Z worth $1 billion. He probably worth about 8. So that's
And of
just the stuff we
course,
know about.
let's not forget them touchdown celebrations that he had.
Oh, I love those touchdown celebrations, man. Those touchdown celebrations was amazing. It's really not too popular for offensive linemen to do it because I played line, but man, I love the salsa dance. Uh
The cheerleader one
the
when he
cheerleader
married
one.
her.
Yeah, I love the salsa dance and the river dance one.
Yes.
But yeah, in fact, I learned how to salsa dance. You know,
The when he scored the one time and he putt.
Yes.
yeah, the Hall of Fame jacket,
Yeah.
which Boomer
Monday Night Football.
Esiason with his Fugazi behind had the nerve to. Who is he to put himself in the Hall of Fame? He'll be a Hall of Famer one day, Boomer Esiason. You never will be. But let's just be real. Let's just be clear, partner. So,
Yeah, Chad. Yeah, he definitely has more of a case
and
of Boomer
look,
Esiason than us.
I don't think people understand this. Ocho Cinco brought Flair back to a team
In
that,
Cincinnati, the purgatory.
yes,
They
I
were so
mean,
cheap. Remember, TJ Ushmanzada talked about how they couldn't even have water or jock straps and all that stuff.
yeah, it was in. Look, by the time they went to the playoffs for the first time in 2003, I remember Willie Anderson saying, "I won 14 games in I won 50 games in my entire career. I won 50 games in my entire career." So, yeah, man, you bought the Flair back to an organization, a historic organization that was founded by Paul Brown, and you bought the Flair back to that organization through your personality, through your play, and you was top 5 at your position for a number of years. So, and you set the trend for great receivers in Cincinnati. You set that trend. So, I mean, from there, TJ Husbanzada, the late great Chris Henry. Then you transition to AJ Green from the University of Georgia. Now Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, just to name a few. Tyler Boyd for a short period of time. So yeah, man. Ocho Cinco, man. I admire him. Like I stated, I wish that I can drive that. What's the car called? The Italian job car he has with the little bug. I think it's a little, the attack, not the Beetle, but it's the other one.
What's that car called? I can't think. I
Yeah,
know what
you
you're
know what I'm
talking
talking
about.
about. I wish I could drive one of those
Yes.
cars with a little drop top on there, but I got to drive my truck. My ass too big. So, yeah, man. And then plus hey, he got and look. They say he was a wonderful teammate. Hugh Jackson loved him. Marvin Lewis loved him. Even like I said, another guy who operated with one of the most strictest teachers and was friends with one of the most strictest teachers in America. That being Roger Goodell.
He called him
remember
dad.
Yeah, he
Called him
called
dad.
Roger Goodell dad.
Yeah.
Stephen A. got on to him about it, but he say, hey, he said I can call Roger Goodell right now, ask him about anything. So yeah, another guy who operated and was cool with one of the strictest teachers, arguably in the history of the game. So yeah, man, I love Chad Ochocinco. So yeah, especially when he had the mohawk, that was cool.
Oh, let's not forget that he did attempt a field goal conversion.
Yes,
Remember
he
that
did.
field goal attempt?
Yes, he did.
So
Yes, he did.
BRF.
Yeah. Chad Johnson, Chad Ochocinco, whatever you want to call him. Yeah, he's a baby face. He's a baby face. It's like even when you tried to make him a heel, or or the media tried to make him a heel, you couldn't do it. You couldn't do it because just his personality. He was just too. I mean, he was too charming of a guy. Like you couldn't. It's one of those guys like you couldn't say no to as far as like an interview or just hanging around or spending time with him. And you see it radiates. I mean, you see it on Nightcap with him and Shannon. Like they are like. I mean, you could just tell like the chemistry and how they are with each other. You could tell the chemistry like it just works. And like him now, he's like telling all the dad jokes every episode. Like it's just like Chad. I feel like Chad Johnson, humor level wise, got to be one of the corniest dudes on earth. But he makes it work. He makes it work.
He played.
And like I said, particularly like is that yeah like just him telling the dad jokes now like because I follow Nightcap on my YouTube and just like I always watch the highlights and all the other stuff and I see the TikTok videos like where they clip the shows or whatnot and I always find a way to catch one of his little dad jokes and it's just
Mhm.
like good God man like only you but honestly though people could talk about him all they want to on the football field as far as like how he ran his mouth a lot. But I tell you what, Chad Johnson is one of the greatest route runners the game has ever seen. Underrated set of hands. I mean, like arguably, arguably top 5, top 10 receiver of the decade of the 2000s. I mean, Chad Johnson was just he was like at his peak. Chad Johnson was like that. So and you just kind of see, oh yeah, and oh man, let me tell you something. I want to if I ever come into a lot of money like that, I want to be just as frugal as he is. Like straight up, I'm gonna be just I'm for real. Like I'm gonna be just as cheap as he is. Like where I could go buy like a fancy like Lamborghini and stuff like that. Nah, my brother buy me an Ultima or something like that. I ain't trying to go out and do all that stuff like that. I'm gonna keep it simple. I'm gonna keep it simple yet effective. Like I
only
may do a little something here and there. I may
only
do a little something here and
only
there, but
person
I
I'm
ain't going
trying
crazy
only
like that.
person I'm trying to spoil is mama.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
Mama's the only one that really kind of truly deserves the spoils because she was like, or the family in general, because they had you when you like they had your back when you was at your highest point, and they had your back when you was at your lowest point. But yeah, mama always stand out. So I'm 1,000% with you on that one. So
Undisputed
but
World
yeah,
Chad may try to spend some money to try to get himself a nice type of wag out there.
No, I ain't seen only two people I'm spending money on like that. Well, three. Pops, Ace, my sister, by the way, Mom. That's the only person I'm really spending any money on. I'm not look, I'm very, very secretive in real life. There's a lot of accomplishments that I've accomplished behind the scenes that only you two know about. And my friends in the real world. there's a lot of stuff that I accomplished behind the scenes. But yeah, on screen, yeah, it's flashy, it's this, it's that. But yeah, you got to keep a lot of stuff close to the chest, man. I know it doesn't seem like it, but yeah, I try to take my relationship with the Lord and Savior very, very seriously. And I try not to be boastful. That's how come I try to be as kind as possible. So yeah, man, real life, man. I'm not trying to. We talk about the wags, we talk about this, we talk about that. Yes, all fun and games, woo hoo. But look, man, I ain't spent. Look, I'm looking for wife, not wag. Wags are expensive, so I
Sure.
ain't trying. I ain't trying to inherit nobody's bills.
If the kid Lions told you, hey, listen, if you pay one of my bills,
You better be. Look, I would tell her in no answer. I would tell her just like I told this one girl one time when I was in the army. I was like 19 years old. She was like, "You gonna buy me something?" I said, "Yeah." The day you go to the recruiter's office and sign that contract, just like I did. So you go
Yeah, I'm
sign.
telling you, like,
You can no because I'm not doing all that, man. Like I said, when you my girl, I got you 100%. I got you. And we're not gonna discuss how I do things because that's how I do things, but you just out here, you just trying to pump a jump. Nah, you. I ain't got nothing for you. In the great words of Big L, but you know what he said.
I'm surprised you didn't listen to Big L.
I my my foundation, and I might be from down south, man, but a lot of
I
my
I I
foundation
know you
from up
listen
north.
to some hip
I
hop,
love
but
up north music, man. Or up north, my
yeah,
favorite artist from up north, and I grew up during the golden era of hip hop.
yep.
I didn't grow. I grew older in the crunk era. The golden era of hip hop was, me and my father listening to Eric B. and Rakim on my way to school,
Mm-hmm.
listening to Big L, listening to Big Pun, listening to Scarface, listening to all the lyrical parts of it. Back when hip hop was at its best. But yeah, Big L, I love Big L. I used to love that song, Street Struck. Street Struck used to be my profile song to my MySpace page. For those of you who remember MySpace. So
oh gosh,
that
MySpace.
used to be casualties of a dice game. I love that. So yeah, I love Big L, man. Big L. I mean, Tech Nine. Just to name a few, man. I love, man. Look, those guys in the '90s took no prisoners, but that's another story for another day, man.
but
Most competitive era of hip hop in history.
back to Ocho, Babyface. But again, him and Shan Sharp, this be nasty. Miss Nasty B. Fine. That's just from. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You cannot tell
When
me she's not fine.
when
I mean,
when
you need to look up.
nah
You need to
that
look up Brittany Jones while you at it, though.
I mean,
nah
if
when
she asked me to,
Shannon when
I mean, her bathwater. I mean, who knows? Hell, some dudes may.
Hey, bro, mom. Hey, look, mom watching
um,
the show, bro. Chill. Mom watching the show. You gonna get us. You gonna get us both put on punishment. I don't need. I
it's
don't
my
need Mama.
part. It's my part.
I understand, but I don't want Mama PSP taking off for up you, mom. We sorry. Calm it down. I don't want mom seeing this and put both of us on punishment.
My
man
mother, my
that
mother does not care. But heck, if she asked me to drink her
man
bathwater, mine.
that one
I'm gonna
that
put us
one
both on
that
punishment. Chill.
that that one nightcap segment with Shannon
I'm
and
already in
Ocho.
punishment anyway, Chip. I mean, look, Nessa and JoJo got me in trouble the other day. So what do you want me to say?
You still ain't gonna do the D'Angelo?
Hell no.
we
We
can
But
going
it,
hey,
hey we
hey, we
hey
go
you
hey
hey
if he
hey
do the D'Angelo, we gonna change his name from the New Jersey
hey
Genius to the Gorgeous Gangster.
hey hey you remember that one segment a few months ago when we were talking about D'Angelo and I busted out with that retitle? Are we going down that road again? We going down that road again?
Yeah,
I'm not doing. I'm not doing it.
If
I'm
he ever
not
do
doing it.
D'Angelo for Nelson and JoJo, we gonna change the name from the New Jersey Genius to the Gorgeous Gangster.
I ain't doing that shit. Unless if I get
that
paid
that
for it. Unless if I get
that
paid
one-
for it, which
oh
that
boy,
ain't gonna happen.
that one nightcap segment though with Shannon and Ocho and Shannon was talking about some. If you got that ooh wee, I'm Mr. TNB. Touching bus.
Tiffany.
All right, fellas. Champ, I'm gonna let you go first on this one. Favorite X-Pac moment.
Oh man, X Pac. I loved X Pac, man. When he first arrived at WCW, sitting in the audience. Never forget Tony Schiavone. He used to wrestle under the name the 1-2-3 Kid. But what is he doing here? That was amazing, man. Hey man, Revelai. Look, one of the most he was big, yet he was small. You don't realize X Pac was like 6'2", 240. But he looked small compared to his counterparts. And look, when DX rebooted after Shawn Michaels retired briefly, he was the integral part. If you didn't want to be, look, I love Triple H, but X Pac was the most exciting. You know, especially when him and Kane teamed up and made one of the
Yes.
most unlikely tag team champions, arguably in history. And remember, Kane was kind of unstable back then, so for them to win the tag team championship, their first reign together was amazing. So they not only beat, they beat the Acolytes in order to get him, and you know how tough the Acolytes was. Winning the UMP title at SummerSlam, against at the Survivor Series at against D'Lo Brown. You know that was amazing. Look, the DX Express. You know, hitting Kane with the flamethrower. You know, remember when he hit Kane with the flamethrower? That was good. Look, being behind the scenes doing the interviews in WCW with the NWO.
Remember the promo he did that he got sued for?
Oh, you talking about when he spoke
WCW
against Eric
holding
Bischoff? Yeah,
no WCW holding Kevin Nash and Scott Hall hostage.
yeah,
Oh, the first WWF interview,
yeah.
yeah. The
That was
promo,
crazy.
yeah.
Man, that X Pac was special, man, because he was one of the greatest mid carders probably that we ever want to see. Not to mention, he was part of the most influential groups of all time. He's part of the NWO and part of DX. If you want to put that into perspective, that's just like a boxer fighting Mike Tyson and Muhammad Ali in their lifetime. That's what that's equivalent to. So you being a part of that. And look, let's not forget when he was part of the X Factor with him and Just Incredible. Yo, you dealing with the X Factor. I'll never forget that, man. Him, Just Incredible. Remember him and Albert teamed up together.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, X Pac was that guy, man. Especially when he used to do the chops. He used to jump up at the end of it and then do it. Man, X Pac was special, man. And you hate to see you and when he was inducted into the Hall of Fame. Oh, yeah, last one for me. When he came back, when they brought back DX, wait a minute. When they brought back the DX and the NWO at WrestleMania, when they relived the Monday Night Wars
Yeah.
just one more time. So that was special, man. That was special, man. We wanted to see that in the great words of John Bradshaw Latefield. We wanted to see this battle in the 90s, but we're getting it right now. Get after it, guys.
BRF.
You know what, man? X Pac, 6, Sean Waltman, like definitely an underappreciated wrestler. If you were a fan of like WCW, like around like the genesis of like the New World Order, if you go back to that first NWO Sold Out, there's a match I highly recommend y'all seeing if you haven't seen it. A United States Heavyweight Championship was it? No, it was a Cruiserweight Championship ladder match. It was Six and Eddie Guerrero. If y'all have not seen this match, I'm gonna need y'all to do so like immediately, because you got to remember this was NWO Sold Out, so this was all NWO. It was commentary, like even when they're yeah, exactly, their own referee, biased commentary. I mean, even the entrances, like if a WCW came out, I mean, the entrances was trash. Like they would just say the name, wouldn't play no. They would just say the name, wouldn't play no music, and would just walk out to the ring. But that ladder match with Six and Eddie Guerrero for the Cruiserweight Championship. If you have not seen that match, I highly recommend you go see that match because that was like one of those kind of like revolutionary like singles ladder matches that kind of help bring the ladder match up to what it is. So I definitely recommend that match. Yeah, the X Pac Kane tag team was I had a lot of fun watching that. Like when they won the tag team titles and X Pac got Kane to talk without the little voice thing he had. I mean, like, come on, you like that was that was cool because Kane, if there was like a picture of the phrase like tormented soul, and there was a picture beside it, it would have been Kane. Like as far as like the character and what he was playing at the time. So X Pac getting Kane to open up like that and kind of show a human side that he hadn't really got to see, before X Pac ultimately turned on him. But still, though, it was a heartwarming thing to see, and that angle was just really really good. The X Pac Kane tag team winning the tag team titles. I mean, and honestly, they. It's not like they were a bad tag team. They were a really really good tag team because teams like that contrast really well when you have the smaller guy, the striker, the high flyer, the more technical guy, and then you get Kane, who's like one of the greatest big men we've ever seen, but like just the quintessential just can jump off the top rope every once in a while, but he's a brawler power guy. I mean, the tag team dynamic, it worked, and they were over for a while, so that dynamic worked. Um, but yeah, like yeah, the DX rebirth, like after Shawn Michaels, like he retired, the 4 year hiatus, and that promo he cut, just dog walking everybody in WCW, like really, because like back then, like a lot of those promos that they would cut, it was like it wasn't as much. It's a little more taboo, I think, in a sense now than maybe then, or maybe I'm wrong. I don't know, but like they would, like a guy would leave another company, would go to the other side, and would just unleash the most scathing promo at the other organization, and you don't necessarily see it as much. Like they may say some stuff and they may kind of like, you might be able to figure out the context. Back then some of these guys would just out and out say it.
Rick
Like
Rude.
it's almost like, bro, you just went to the World Wrestling Federation and here you are mentioning like Hulk Hogan's name out your mouth and all that other stuff when he's like peak WCW, and it's like, man, like stuff was tough back then. Attitude Era, like people can say what they want to about the Attitude Era, but the Attitude Era is nothing to be played with, nothing to be messed with. Like some of them promos were just, they were lethal to say the very least. Um, yeah, the feud he had with Shane McMahon was definitely underrated. Um, definitely underrated.
WrestleMania
Uh,
15.
WrestleMania 15,
with
Shane
the X
McMahon
with the
beat.
X with the XP t-shirt.
Mm, like any, yeah, exactly. Like man, boy, Shane McMahon had a way with his jerseys and his t-shirt. Like my favorite one with Shane, real quick, was the Big Show, and he had "Which way did he go" on the shirt. Like
Remember he
yeah,
wore
which
the
way
one
did
with the
he
croc.
go?
Remember he wore the one with the t-shirt
Yes,
with the croc on there. The croc.
yes, the croc. Yeah, the croc. Oh my god. But but yeah, I think the only thing you hate about X Pac, and it's a shame, is there's a term of heat that's named after him. It's the go away heat. It's called X Pac heat because it's like it's not a good type of heat. It's the type of heat you get when like people just really don't want to see you on TV because they think you're boring. And like he was X Pac for so long, and there was like no shift or no change in his character. Fans like literally got tired of seeing him on TV. But then but you see him now, like kind of cleaning himself up, getting his life together, cleaning his life up, all the tragedies and hardships and stuff that he went through to be where he is now, in the mindset that he is like, I'm happy for him. I'm glad to see him like prospering, doing well. Um, so I and there's probably more like I mean, come on, you really can't talk about X Pac, Sean Waltman. You can't really talk about him without beating Razor Ramon as the 1-2-3 kid. I mean, you can't talk about him without talking about that match. For me, that upset really jump started what Monday Night Raw ultimately became to, because like it's like that moment still lives as like one of the greatest like upsets in the history of like any type of WWE TV show. Like the hell does little scrawny kid doing coming out of nowhere and beating Razor Ramon, who was like, it was like at his he was like at his heel peak, like his hottest heel peak at the time. And Sean and the 1-2-3 kid just comes out, hits a moonsault, 1-2-3. I'm like, okay, okay, we might have a little something here. So, but yeah, he, like I said, he was definitely underappreciated because he put on some hella matches, and I'm just glad now he's able to get flowers that fans actually can go back and watch some of his matches and really understand honestly how good he was and how ahead of his time he was as a cruiserweight. So, shout out to Sean Waltman, shout out to X Pac, man. He's definitely underappreciated, and I'm glad he's getting his flowers.
I'm sorry, it has to be the plane ride from hell when he chopped off Michael Hayes' ponytail and then running around the plane like he won the WWE title or some shit. That is my favorite moment. I mean, thank God for Dark Side of the Ring. I had to watch that full episode, and then of course, WrestleMania 15, him and Shane McMahon, the him and Kane. I love X Pac, man. Underdog, because he wasn't that big of a dude. I mean, he was about like what 6 feet, a buck 60, buck 50, and then for him to be with DX, and then just excitement, man, and also the psychology, how he was so athletic at his size, though. That's what I love. But the plane ride from hell when he chopped off Michael Hayes' ponytail, and then the promo that he did when he got sued for. Those are the two things that stand out to me with X Pac.
Can you
But
imagine you waking your ass up out of the
yeah,
middle of the night and somebody cut your damn ponytail off? Woo, somebody got to get their ass whooped after that.
imagine how I feel if my braids got cut off.
Damn.
There you go. And then I just love X. And then of course, go back if you want to watch a good match of X Pac when he was 1-2-3 kid when he faced Bret Hart
Mhm,
for the title. That was a good match though.
mhm.
That was a good one. But X Pac had some really good, had some underrated mic skills though. I love this work though, but I'm sorry. The plane ride from hell. If there's one thing that stands out, him chopping off Michael Hayes' ponytail. Love Michael Hayes though, but damn.
You mean Doc Hendricks? Look at me on your face.
All right,
Mm.
last one. Favorite Faith Evans track. As soon as I get home, you used to love me. Faith Evans, man, her. I mean, the thing that really stands out to me with Faith Evans is when her and Biggie, rest his soul, when they were married, Biggie had a lot of infidelities and stuff like that. There was one part in which the Notorious movie, and it's well documented, champ, how she caught the woman who Biggie was having an affair with and beat the shit out of her. So that's like one of my favorite Faith Evans moments. But I can't forget this song, even though it wasn't really her song. The Heartbreak Hotel with her, Kelly Price, and of course the late great Whitney Houston.
Yes.
Her singing, her and Bad Boy. By the way, early on in her career, she was fine though. The beautiful blonde hair that she was rocking with at the time, and those songs that she did in the '90s. Love Faye Faye. So as soon as I get home, and of course I love you.
Oh, it's my turn.
Whoever wants to go.
Can't believe Future and Carl Thomas.
Yes.
Mm,
The way they sampled phone tap
Mm-hmm.
from the firm, that was good. I mean, and then they did the remix when they put Shine on there. That one was good. You gets no love. You gets no love. Look, never knew love like this before, man. Everybody remember the great Fat Man Scoop on the remix of that song. If you got $1 in your hand, put your hands up. If you got $100, put your hands up. If you got $1 million, put your hand. Look, man, if you don't remember that song for anything, man, you gotta remember that song for the way Fat Man Scoop came up behind it. Her, I know it was her song, but without her, it wouldn't have been a song. Remember when the late great one died and the oil man had made the song about him and
I'll be missing you. I'll be
I'll be
missing.
missing you. Yeah, it was her voice really did the chorus a lot of justice. That was a good man, but it was a great song, man. You know, that was great. Um, like I said, as soon as oh yeah, you used to love me. I remember that. And look, let's not forget um the feature on the game song. I don't need your love.
Mm-hmm.
I remember she did a hell of a job on that song. I don't need your love. So that was a good song within itself, man. So Faith Evans, iconic, a lot of competition in the '90s. So hey, good stuff.
BRF.
Mm-hmm. I mean, my 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 favorite Faith Evans song of all time is "Soon as I Get Home." That's my favorite song she's ever done. But yeah, yeah. I mean, honestly, like yeah, "Can't Breathe," "Love Like This," "Used to Love," yeah, "You Used to Love Me." Um, but yeah, like I'll be missing you. Like, I, putting like her voice kind of really gave it that kind of like just because because of the relationship her and Biggie had, like just you just you knew what they lost, and you kind of like hearing like the you know it's like the appreciation, like you could hear the pain in her voice, but there was still like the appreciation, and just her just kind of you could just feel her just kind of appreciating him and being grateful that he was in her life, and you could just hear it coming through in that song when she sung. um yeah, I mean, but of course, Heartbreak Hotel. That song will forever, that song's gonna get played for a long, long time. That was such a good song. um but just she yeah I just love, honestly, I just love hearing that woman sing. It didn't matter what song she was on, whether it was a feature or whether it was just she was just the main vocalist. Like I just loved hearing I loved hearing her sing. I think she's one of the most underrated vocalists of our generation. So, and yeah, I'm glad this was a good topic to have as far as like favorite track. But yeah, if my favorite all time Faith Evans song is "Soon as I Get Home." I love that song, and I will die on that hill. I think that's the greatest song she's ever done, and I will die on that hill.
I heard from some people. Good song to make love too. When you playing that song, if you want to make love, that's the type of song make up love you want to listen to. Why are you looking at me like that, champ?
Hey man, you gotta turn that music on for him sometime. Though I call I turn it. Let's turn that music on for 'em. So
Is
hey
that's
man,
what they say down south?
that's what those some of this stuff is what we say down south. Some of the stuff is what I say, man. Turn that music on for 'em. So yeah, man, gotta turn that music on for us sometime. But man, and and that peanut butter skin, man. But I mean, she did. Am I lying? So yeah. So
You could just think of Nikita Lyons and her vanilla chocolate.
No, but Faith was a fine young lady, man.
Yeah, she
Pretty,
was.
pretty, man. Yeah.
She was. But anyway, that concludes the rest of the Sports PSP podcast. Man, we had a blast on the show. And BRF, I know you're checking out the game right now. Is it official? Miami won?
Miami's going to the national championship game. They beat Ole Miss 31-27,
27.
but it got dicey because Trinidad Chambliss was doing work out there. But yeah,
And which is
Miami.
why he's going to stay for another year.
And I don't blame him. But yeah, with that being said, Miami will be awaiting the winner of Indiana, Oregon in the national championship game. So shout out to Miami. Shout out to Carson Beck. Shout out to Carson Beck. He gets to play for a national championship 1 year after the year after leaving the Georgia Bulldogs. So shout out to Carson Beck.
Mm-hmm. Fellas, I know early on when we started off the show, we started off the show with an uncomfortable conversation. Last words before we wrap up the show. I mean, it's just like I said, it's 2026. Like I said before, enough is enough. Instead of saying, well, we need to do better, we should do better. We expect to do better. And I just hope everyone starts off the new year right. Hey, if you're gonna drink responsibly. Enjoy some good football, some football playoffs, watch some basketball, or even if you're not watching sports, just take some time for yourself or just be around family. Um, like I said before, I was taking a break off from content creation and stuff. Got so rough for me to a point I actually thought about giving up content creation for good. But then after talking to the two of y'all, Champ told me, "Hey, you'll retire only when I retire." So, but I realized, look, man, I can't stop giving up something that I love, something that I put in a lot of time, a lot of effort. As Champ always tells me, I can find another pod. The pod won't find another me. So therefore, I gotta grab and capitalize every opportunity that's out there and just make the most out of it. And also, too, for 2026, just try not to be too hard on myself. Try not expecting too much from myself because I want a lot of things. I want for all of us to grow, make a ton of money, make more money than we could ever imagine. But also try to enjoy life. So, just trying to do what I can for myself and just to keep on grinding and just keep on living my life. But anyway, that's all I got to say. Any final words before we wrap up the show?
That's for you, JoJo. Good
Mm-hmm.
job. Good job. Good job. But thank you, all of y'all. So just grateful to be here, man. Just being real, man. Just grateful to be here, man. Every time I turn on that camera, and I call it the highlight of Friday nights for a reason, man. Even if you have a bad week, minute that camera cut on is it's a whole other story. A whole other story. Yes, indeed. Thank God for it, and glad to be here every single day, man. Just keep grinding, keep shining, man. Thank God for it.
Thank God for God, man. None of this would have been possible for him, and none of this would have been possible for a great family and friends along the way who've helped me with the podcast. Of course, as well as you, Champ, BRF. BRF, any final words?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it's it's good. It's good to be back. It's good to be back doing this. It's always a pleasure to share the stage with you two. Y'all have really just y'all have helped me a lot. Y'all have helped me as far as like one to advance in this, one to get better in this, one that all of us wanting to take our games up, want to take it to another level, knowing where we want to be ultimately, where the goal is to be among the elite, be among the best of the best as far as doing this. I'm grateful to have y'all. I'm blessed with everybody I've met ever since I started this journey. Just it's an honor. It's an honor. Like Champ says, it's a privilege, a pleasure, and an honor to share the stage with y'all. And I couldn't ask for better people to do this with. So shout out to y'all. Shout out to everybody in the pod and grind. This is why this is what we live for, man. We love doing this. So 2026 is a new year. Uh, honestly, as far as 2026 goes, I just want us all to continue improving and getting better and being the best version of ourselves. You can make all the resolutions you want, but at the end of the day, you have to kind of you have to put actions to it. You can say all the words you want, but you got to put actions to it. And I want us all to grow. I want us all to grow. I want us to hit the big time, and I know it's coming. I know it's coming, and we got to keep striving to be the best we can be. So, with that being said, thank y'all for having me. Thank y'all for just helping me the way you have, um, helping me get better. I work on it every day, regardless of whether I'm making videos in the chat, just little stuff, nuances, stuff that I want to pick up, that I want to be better at, and just hey, I'm blessed to have this opportunity. I want to make the most of it. So thank y'all to everybody who support us. We gonna keep this ball rolling. I mean, honestly, there's really no stopping us as long as we put our mind to it. We can do whatever we want. So I'm just happy to be a part of this ride. Topic not thought about is a topic not talked about.
There we go. Um, Everyone, even though it's a Thursday night, enjoy yourselves. Enjoy the rest of y'all weekend on Friday night. Thank y'all. And we'll be back on the Sports PSP podcast next Friday night, 7:30 Eastern Standard Time, no longer 9 p.m. We're going to do it an hour and a half early. Sorry, because PSP is not going to spend the entire evening editing and doing all that stuff because he's exhausted and he needs to have time for himself to have a couple of Angry Orchards and margaritas. So on that note, we're going to enjoy the rest of the evening. We is out. Peace.